Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Player's Take episode 272. I'm your host, Justin D. Simone, joined, as always, by my co-host, Montrell Rice. Montrell, how are you this week?
I am doing okay. I don't know. This has been a weird week. You ever work on stuff, um, like not put your heart and soul into it, right? But you studied it and
hmm
you finally get a chance to test it out, and it just doesn't work. Um,
Mm,
so that kind of happened to me yesterday.
interesting. Yes,
Yeah,
I have done that before.
yeah. So that kind of happened to me yesterday. I've been working on one of my firearms for about 2 weeks now, trying to figure out. I took it out to the range like a month ago, I believe, and it wasn't cycling properly. So
hmm
did two or three things to change it, put it back together, and then I took it to the range yesterday, and it still wasn't cycling properly. And I was
hmm
just like, I gotta go to the gunsmith now. And I feel so defeated because I looked up hours and hours of like research and everything like that. And I
hmm
was just like, yeah, it didn't work out. So that kind of bummed me out. But besides that, I mean, the week's been okay. Like I've been downloading emulators on my phone. I got a PlayStation emulator
Mm,
on my phone now, which is like really cool.
okay.
Um,
Nice.
and yeah, I don't know. It's just been it's been like a dull but busy week because we got like a 24 fucking intern orientation that we got to give equipment for and all that shit. So we've been
Oh
doing all
my
that shit.
god. Yeah.
But besides that, yeah, it's been pretty okay week. I will say the games I've been playing this week have been I can delete one of these. I haven't even touched it. But the games I've
Nice.
been playing this week have been helping me out
Okay.
and everything like that. So what
That's
about
good to
you?
hear. Okay. I'm very interested to get the games you're playing. But yeah, no, I'm doing all right. I mean, I'm very tired. Like I've been working on I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but I've been working on a video review of Stellar Blade for the last couple weeks, and um going to work, like working a full-time job and then coming home and working on a YouTube video, it's a lot. I'm working like I'm probably working like 13 hours probably some days. I mean, I haven't been working on the video every single day the last 2 weeks, but I probably worked on it maybe 60 to 65% of the days, in that period of time. So, I've been putting some effort into it, and it's definitely something I'm not accustomed to. I don't usually work on something like this on weeknights, or um take like a whole weekend day and work on it. I don't typically do that generally. So it's been a new experience, but I'm definitely tired. I'm a little worn down, stressed out somewhat, but it's been fun. So at the same time, I do want to so kind of an announcement on that. So I'm pretty much done with the video. It I need to do some touch up work tonight on it to finish it off and then get it uploaded, and make a thumbnail and stuff like that. So I will be posting this on the Players Take YouTube channel on Saturday. It will more than likely be in the morning unless something delays it for some reason. That's kind of the plan right now. But so look for that Saturday if you're interested in my kind of deeper thoughts on Stellar Blade. I guess I've talked about the game a lot. We're probably going to talk about it more today, but if you kind of want more of like a structured breakdown of the game, with some gameplay underlaid, that will be there. It's going to be about 20-minute video. So it's my first time doing this too. It was I've done video content before, even on our channel, and but this was the first time I did like a scripted style video. And it was definitely an interesting process to kind of take hold of and learn overall. So yeah, that should be coming this weekend. And check it out. Would appreciate any feedback people would be willing to give to on that. So um all right, Montreal. Well, let's. We got a lot to talk about today, so I kind of don't want to waste too much time
Yeah.
here at the front of the show. So, let me get into the rigmarole, and we can jump right in. So, for those of you who haven't listened before, this is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays. on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and YouTube Music. And if you'd like to send us questions, you can do so on Twitter at The Players Take, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. All right, Montrell, let's get started with what we've been playing. Would you like me to go first, or you want to go first this week?
You can go first.
All right, perfect. So yeah, I got 3 games to talk about. Final Fantasy II Pixel Remaster. I did finish that last week after we were done recording. Beat the game, got the platinum, and done with that one. So my thoughts on it obviously didn't really change much in the final hours. It's a weird game. It's certainly worth a playthrough, I think, because it's so short. Number one, and number two, it's just to kind of, you know, understand where Final Fantasy was at a certain point in time. It's certainly an interesting game, but I don't think it's anything. It's probably going to be one of the lesser games in the series for most people. I would guess. There's just not a whole lot going on there. The story's like kind of weird, and there's some interesting moments in it, but they're just not developed very well in the story. Like, it's not like characters come in and out of the party, and they're, you know, that some of them, there's plenty of characters who died throughout the story, and they definitely were trying to go for something a little more mature, I guess, with this story in this game. But it's like none of these characters are really developed at all in the game. Like, you don't spend a whole lot of time with them, and then they just die, and it's like, okay. It's like, all right, I mean, cool, dude. Like, you know, so it's just, I think they were trying something here, and obviously this game's super old. I mean it's over, what is this, 35 years old. Yeah, 35 years old, I think, is Final Fantasy 2, something around there. So you know, they were experimenting, and the games later, you can see the games later in the series where this game kind of influenced the way they kind of designed some of the narrative, for sure.
Okay.
I think Final Fantasy 4 in particular kind of takes a lot from this game, certainly. Um so yeah, that's very 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 interesting. But then I did boot up Final Fantasy 3 over the weekend, and I played for about, I think I played for like 2 or 3 hours. And the thing is, I remember playing Final Fantasy 3 on the GBA because they did a 3D remake way back, or maybe that was on the DS. It might have been on the DS.
It was a
Now that
DS.
I think it was DS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played it for literally 2 hours, I think, and I couldn't stand it back then. And I never finished it. You know, I just dropped the game and never picked it back up because I hate random battles, and I don't think you couldn't skip the random battles in back then, even on that remake. So I never picked the game back up. But this one is in the original pixel style of the game, so it's the version that was on the NES. So there's a trilogy of games on the NES. 1, 2, and 3 were on the NES, and then 4, 5, and 6 were at Super NES games. So this was the last one on NES, and it's interesting. I didn't realize, I did not know this about Final Fantasy 3, but it harkens back to Final Fantasy 1 in terms of its design. It's basically straight ripped out of that game. And it's kind of interesting when you look at the Final Fantasy games, because 1 through 6 are weird. So 1, 3, and 5 are very closely linked in terms of the way they're designed, and then 2, 4, and 6 have some kind of elements that they share between them that aren't shared with 1, 3, and 5. So 3 is like back to the whole crystal story where you're like, you have to go around the world and like activate the crystals, and darkness is coming, and you get a party of 4 right at the beginning of the game, and you have to name them like you did in Final Fantasy 1. And then this game has a job system. This was the first game in the series where the job system got fleshed out a little bit. And where Final Fantasy 1 was very boring in terms of its class, you couldn't change classes or anything like that in the game. Final Fantasy 3, you are able to switch jobs with every character, so you can level up as a white mage and then switch to a warrior if you want. But so that was introduced here in Final Fantasy 3. So, but the other interesting thing is the MP mechanic that was in Final Fantasy 2 was actually removed in this game, and they went back to the spell slot style system from Final Fantasy 1, which I did not know that ever got reused again. And maybe that was something they did for the Pixel remaster specifically. I haven't played the originals in these games, so I don't know if that's a strict kind of one-to-one translation here. But it is interesting to see that here in this Pixel remaster. That yeah, it's got the spell slot thing, but the interesting thing in the first game, every spell slot or every level of spell had a cap of 9 spells, 9 slots you could use per level. So you could cast 9 level 1 spells, 9 level 2 spells, 9 level 3 spells. In this game, that cap is gone. My characters already have, I think, like 13 level 1 spells they can cast or something like that. So they took that restriction out and kept the slot mechanic though for interesting reasons. But so what it really impacts is as you're leveling and unlocking new tiers of magic, you have a limited usages. You might only have 1 level 3 spell slot, and that's kind of where I'm at right now in the game. I think
Mm-hmm.
I'm around a level 11 or 12, something like that. So you're limited in the higher level magic, as you're leveling, but so that's interesting. The story is it's a little bit more in depth than Final Fantasy 1. There are actually characters kind of interacting with your party and that you're meeting, and they kind of they actually join you for a period of time. They don't fight with you the way they do in Final Fantasy 2, but they will travel with you for a period of time, and things will happen in the story that with them, and then eventually they'll leave the party, or they will eventually leave the party. So it's interesting in that regard. As I said, I'm only about 3 hours in. I'd say I don't know, maybe 20% through the game already. It seems like another short game, which is great. I kind of want to get through this one and actually get to the meat of Final Fantasy, the early Final Fantasy games, and get to Final Fantasy 4. I'm very excited to replay that game because it has been a long fucking time since I've touched that one. And honestly, that's the one that most deep hardcore Final Fantasy fans, like, that's usually the one that's like their favorite. It's usually 4 or 6. So I'm excited to get to those. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, in terms of the job system, I think 5 goes deeper on this and it gets more fleshed out. This game, it seems a little basic, because you'll level up your job, but if you switch jobs, your stats will reflect the level of the job you switch to. So you're not, as far as I can tell, you're not really carrying a whole lot over between jobs, really, at any given time. So, and the jobs you unlock are restricted by the story progress of the game. I think. I don't think it's something where you like level warrior up to level 15 and unlock berserker or something like that. Like that doesn't that doesn't seem to be the case in this game. So yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of just a more fleshed out Final Fantasy 1. And I think that's good. I liked Final Fantasy 1 well enough, so I think I will ultimately enjoy this game, but I'm definitely ready to like get out of the NES era, and kind of move on to more sophisticated games in the series. So yeah. Montrell, have you ever played Final Fantasy 3?
Hey, that's the one I missed. I played 4.
So you've played one. You played one, you said, right?
Played 1,
And you skipped 2 and 3.
skip 2 and 3. Or maybe I did play 3.
Well, because
No, I played the
so
remake. I played the DS remake. I
okay,
did play a DS remake of 3. I
okay.
played
I don't know how
4.
different that one is.
I played the DS remake or the 3DS remake of 4.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that was DS as well.
skip 5. I played 6, 7. I didn't play 7 2 years later though. Uh, played 8, skip 9, played 10, skip 11. I didn't know that 11. I don't even think I was like trying to play this game. I don't even know why I skipped 11. Didn't play 12 until 2020.
Hmm.
Uh, uh,
Damn. Wow.
uh,
I played a
yeah,
lot of 12.
I played the remake. I didn't play. I played it. So okay, I played 12 for like an hour when I was like young, and that was over my cousin's house, and I didn't really like it, and
Yeah.
I put it up, and I never touched it again after that. I just chalked it up to like it being trash, and I was young, and then you still have that young impression. And I played it again when I was older. Obviously, the 2020 remake where you can fast forward stuff, and that made things a lot better. I did
Hmm.
like it. I like the job system. I like the open single player MMO style they had going on.
Yeah.
But it definitely did leave some stuff to be desired. Um, and obviously I played 13. I hated 13, then I became to love 13, then I love 13 too. Um, and 14, 15, 16, and so forth. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Um, okay. Well, yeah. So yeah, the last game I've been playing, I started it last night. Was I decided to just boot up Dragon's Dogma 2.
Mhm.
Um, have not played super deep. I've probably put in about 2 hours so far. Maybe I was super tired last night. I played for like an hour, maybe an hour 15 minutes, and fell asleep. So
Yeah, I will say this game is one of the games you have to kind of make your own fun. Like there's an overarching story, there's a story,
yeah,
but the RPG mechanics in the uh I call them pals, but they're not pals.
pawns,
The pawn system is
pals,
yeah.
like Pal World.
Your pawns, really make or break the game, and you get to have more than one pawn, or I think you get to have more than one customized pawn this time.
No,
Um,
it's only one so
it's only
far.
one so far.
You
Okay,
customize your character and then one pawn who's always with you.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but it's really like I would say like the game shines when you just go off and do random shit, in my opinion. Um, Like that's and
Yeah.
you use your combat in creative ways. Like it's not going to give you a direct way to do the combat. You have to kind of figure out how to do the combat and everything like that.
Mhm.
It's almost Breath of the Wildish in that respective manner, but like in a way that I like it.
Yeah.
In that way, because there's just so many options you can do. I have to say that Breath of the Wild doesn't have that many options. So,
Yeah.
yeah, just be cautious of that. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not deep in. I'm currently running to the capital after the initial, early part of the game.
Mhm.
Which is actually a funny point because they set you up, I feel like, where you go to this village and this guy's like, he's like, I'm looking for the Arisen or whatever. And you meet him and he's like, all right, I need to bring you to the capital. You're supposed to come to the capital and claim the throne or whatever. And then he's like, go, I'm not ready to leave yet. I need my soldiers to come back. Go talk to somebody. So you go talk to someone, and then you come out, and they're like, all right, we're ready to leave. And then he's like, they give you a choice, like, are you ready to leave for the capital yet? Yes or no? And it's I'm so used to modern games that I was expecting the game to teleport you to the capital. But the game does not do that. You say yes, and they're like, all right, let's go. You just start running, and it's fucking really fucking far. And I'm like, oh, I'm playing Dragon's Dogma 2. Yeah, duh. Of course, it wasn't gonna fucking teleport me there. But it's just I'm so used to modern gaming that my brain wasn't ready for that, and I was like super tired, so I was like, okay, oh yeah, of course. So yeah, I'm in the midst of that journey right now,
Okay.
running. But yeah, the combat. I mean, there's not much to say so far. I fought some goblins basically. I will say it does. I, I say this cautiously, but it does remind me of Monster Hunter in some ways.
That
In this,
that's that is
yeah,
that's funny you say that. It is made by the Monster Hunter team
it
or
makes
part of them.
sense. It makes
Part of
sense
them.
because there's no lock on as far as I can tell. Like you can't lock on enemies. At least I think you can't so far. I haven't figured out how if you can. But it plays because I haven't fought anything big yet, and I think the game's kind of built around that idea.
Mhm.
Because fighting the little enemies reminds you of fighting little enemies in Monster Hunter, where it's like super imprecise and fucking weird. Where you run up to them and you'll be facing the wrong fucking way when you're swinging or something. And it's like it doesn't have that level of like Dark Souls precision or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
um so it's interesting in that regard. I'm playing the Thief right now, so and that is kind of fun. It is interesting though, that this is another thing that kind of reminds you of Monster Hunter. Like they give you right away, they give you kind of some big flashy moves that you can pull off, but they're not straightforward. Like you don't just target an enemy with them. You kind of have to aim the direction you want to go. Like
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
them's like a dash attack, and you can do it multiple times in succession. But
You gotta
the
aim it
f-
each time.
correct, yeah, the first one will hit the enemy, and you'll go past them, and then you kind of have to turn and go back towards them if you want to do it again in succession. So you can't just like spam it, which is interesting. So there's definitely some nuance and definitely layers of skill here that I need to learn and understand with this game, which is cool. I'm excited to kind of dig into it overall. So it's interesting. I will say so far though, I'm definitely getting the vibe of what you're saying because um I don't feel anything so far. Like, I know that's like a weird way to frame this. I don't really know how else to say this. Like, the game's not making me excited or not excited. I'm just kind of in the
Yeah,
middle at the moment. I'm
just in
just
the
kind of
middle of stuff. Yeah,
blah with it. And I
yeah.
need to get deeper in the game, I think. But it's like,
It's
I'm just
it's.
like, okay, it's just you just run around. It's like,
I won't say you won't have the same aha moment as Monster Hunter because it's a little bit more direct in Monster Hunter.
yeah,
But
definitely.
it is
It's more
like,
structured, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but it is that moment. You're gonna have that moment where you're like probably fighting a giant monster or something, and then
Yeah.
you have your party with you. You probably die a couple times, and you're like, okay, how can I beat this fucking
And then
monster?
then like a griffin shows up and like takes one of your pawns and yeah, I know I've heard the stories. I haven't personally experienced any of it yet, so
Yeah, so
yeah,
it's just one of those games you just gotta. It took me
yeah,
a while to get into the Dragon's Dogma 1, to be honest with you.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but once I finally got it, I was like, oh, I see what they're trying to go for here. Like they're
Hmm.
not trying to do the traditional, you know, it's trying to be the traditional RPG. It structures itself like a traditional RPG, but it's not. Like they really
I think
did some creative shit with it,
it's more like an immersive sim is more kind of how I'm like looking at it right now.
An immersive sim. That's interesting.
Well,
Elaborate
in
on
in
that.
the sense of they're trying to build a world that you exist in, and it's a world.
Oh, okay.
you know
Yeah, yeah,
like it's not trying to be a game necessarily, even though obviously it is a game, but it wants you to feel like you live in this world, right? Because you have to sleep, you have to fucking you there's like a day night cycle, like the world will move on without you kind of thing. Like the game's already warned me about certain quests. If you take too much time, they'll just progress without you and you'll fail them or something.
yeah, yep.
So I think they're
Yeah, the world is
yeah,
very much alive, and
yeah,
I actually like that.
yeah.
So
But that
um,
approach can come with some negatives, which I'll probably see at
yeah,
some point.
you're
So
probably gonna run into it. Yeah.
yeah, but
Um,
but yeah, it's interesting. I did decide to make my main character is Geralt, and my primary pawn is Ciri. So I did my best. They're not perfect, but they look decent within the context of the game. So yeah, if you see a Cirilla pawn, that's mine probably. If you're playing Dragon Dogma 2, but yeah, I kind of decided to just I wanted to do, and I felt like with the Witcher characters, like this feels like an appropriate world for them with all the giant monsters and stuff.
yeah,
So yeah, but I like that you can do that though. I've got two. I was going through the pawns like trying to hire some in the Rift Gate, and I saw one called Snoop Pawn. Somebody made Snoop Dogg as one of the like cat people and named it Snoop Pawn. I like that one. So people are I do like that energy with it. It's very goofy. People are doing goofy stuff. So I will say the character creator is pretty insane too. You can make almost anything you fucking want.
yeah,
It's not necessarily gonna look perfect, but like, dude, you can make a fucking goblin if you want.
yeah,
It's like so it's that detailed, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm excited to dig a little deeper into it this weekend, hopefully. So, but yeah, other than that, that's all I've been playing so far. What about you?
yeah. I've been playing Fallout a little bit. Um, Not too much to say. I'm still on the Fallout 3 uh main quest. I don't think I'm gonna do all the side content because I just remember all the side content like rent free in my head. So I might just do the main quest because I really want to get over to New Vegas or whatever and do all that stuff over again. Because the mod I'm using like kind of connects it. So you
Mm,
do
mhm,
you do New Vegas, you do Fallout 3, you finish it, and then you get booked over to New Vegas. And it like the lore wise, your time has passed and everything, and you're in
mm.
New Vegas, whatever the case may be. So, um, yeah. So I've been playing Stellar Blade, and I
Pretty
was
deep.
determined. Yeah. So I was determined to. I'm going through phases with this game. Um, and I much akin it
Montrell, I've
to.
been looking forward to this all week. I just want to tell you, like, I really have. So sorry, continue.
So my thought process going into the game, I first of all I didn't know the demo stuff carried over, so that was pretty cool. I didn't have to do the demo section again.
Yeah,
Um,
you did have to fight the boss again, though,
yes, I did have to fight the.
which was weird, but
Yeah,
yeah.
actually, I didn't. I didn't have to fight the boss over again.
Wait,
I,
really?
yeah,
Oh,
it took me straight into the to the next world, or not the next world.
the next
Took me straight
section.
into the next section. Yeah, I didn't have to fight the boss again.
Oh, what the fuck, man? I had to refight the first boss. What the fuck?
Oh,
That was
I
weird.
don't know
Huh.
what happened
I
there.
don't know. Maybe I
Yeah.
didn't save my data correctly. I don't know.
But yeah, so I beat the boss, or not the boss, but I'm in the Great Desert right now. Um, and yeah, so my mindset going into this game, right, was like I've shaken off what I thought I wanted it to be. I've shaken that off. And now I'm just gonna play what it is. And I actually do like what it is. I like what it's trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
My only complaint, or not my only complaint, I have a couple of complaints. But one of my biggest complaints is uh I did say this to Tori. Me and Tori were talking about it, and I'm wrong about one thing. I said pick a lane. If you're going to be a Dark Souls game, be a Dark Souls game. If you're going to be a character action game, be a character action game. And I don't think this game needs to do that. What I
Yeah.
think the game needs to do, though, I think it needs to balance itself out a little bit more. It wants to be a character action game, but it's so heavy on the soul side,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
I can see that. So I think this game's biggest crutch is the beginning part of the game. It's
Yeah.
the most difficult part. It is the most turn offish part of the game. If you are a person who do not like Souls games, you will have a hard time getting to the part where the game's actually fun.
Yeah.
In my
Yeah.
opinion, you will have to struggle through that. Now, you do get some cool moves, like maybe 10 hours into the game, 5 or 10 hours. Like it's actually like 5 hours into the game to me.
Mm-hmm.
You will get some cool moves and stuff like that. But like 10 hours, I don't even know my hour playthrough right now. But once you unlock the not the Taki tree, but the other tree, the burst skills. Once you unlock the burst skills, the game like opens up a lot for you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because you think with the beta skills, like they open up and everything, like, oh, I can do these little beta skills, cool.
Yeah.
But the burst skills is when the game like really starts to open up for you, as far as combat options and things you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And before the burst skills, I was super frustrated, and I said, I'm gonna finish this game no matter what. This is gonna be my Code Vein Part 2. I'm gonna finish the game and prove that I can finish this game, and then I'm gonna bitch about the game the entire time. That didn't happen. So yeah, when I unlocked the burst skills, I was like, oh, okay, I see now what they're trying to
Yeah.
do with the game. And the game's actually like super fun. Now, before you get the burst skills, bro, multiple enemies are fucking terrible in this game. Handling multiple enemies is like ripping off one of your own fingernails, in my opinion. It's so fucking terrible. Not only that, I think they recognize the issue with their parry system, and that's why they give you so many fucking buffs to
Yeah.
mitigate the parry system. The parry system, I don't care what no one says, and I will die on this hill. I don't care if fucking Sunni Legend comes out and it's like, oh man, this is the best parry system ever. No, bro. This parry system is absolute ass. And the reason why it's absolute ass is because they have the parry targeted on the animation, like Justin was telling me before. So if there's a point in your animation which is like, well, Montreal, oh, fucking game to do that. I mean, that's the thing you gotta do. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I get that. I get that games do target the frames to the animation or your active frames to the animation, and I get that, right? This game is so weird though because when your blocking is your parry button. So her sword is at her hip, her sword has to be like at the top of her head for the parry frame to activate. The problem is there's a delay from her getting from the hip to the head. You
Yeah.
can't, and if you're like in Sekiro mode and you're like, oh, I'm gonna do it as soon as he hits, did a perfect parry. That's not it, brother. I'm sorry, that's not gonna work. You have to like kind of predict when their hit's gonna
Anticipate.
hit.
Yeah.
anticipate when their hit is gonna be at the top of your head for your blade to be active, for your parry frame to be activated. Um, and it took me. I'm not gonna shit y'all. I'm not gonna kid y'all. It took me a while to get used to it. Like I didn't get
Mm.
it until damn near before I got the burst skills, and I'm like, oh, okay, now I get because I wasn't even finishing the parry stuff. I was just doing the dodge mechanic and whatever the case may be. And even the dodge mechanic is kind of weird too for the
Well, yeah,
active
the
frames.
dodge only works the dodge that has no iframes unless you perfect dodge.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, but even the perfect dodge active frames are, to me, compared to other games like Near, they're very small. The
Yeah.
active frames are very small, and
Yeah, like for instance, if an enemy's doing like a 5-hit combo and you dodge the first hit, by the third hit you will be vulnerable again.
yeah, yeah,
So you'll have to dodge multiple times within the combo string.
yeah. So, I think that's the biggest detriment to the game, and I kind of I did
Well, I
I did
think to your point, sorry to interrupt you, but
yeah,
to your point, the game has multiple things in it. There's a piece of equipment,
yep,
and then there's skills on the skill tree that make parrying and perfect dodging quote
easier,
easier.
yep,
And I think those wouldn't be there if the mechanic was really strong, I guess. You know?
yes. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I think as well, because I'm actually using those. And I know at some point you can unlock the ability to get a second spine, or add a second spine or something like that. So I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to that. But right now I'm just using like the reflex spine, I think it is, where it gives me the
Mm.
perfect parry and perfect dodge boost or whatever. And then I obviously have the skills unlocked for it as well. But yeah, once I did unlock those skills before I got that reflex mod, um, I was okay. But then yeah, once I got the burst skills, and um I didn't put it in the chat, but I have a video. I was fighting one of the monsters on top of a building. Like it's pretty much a reincarnation of the first monster you fight, the very first
Yes.
monster you fight
Yeah.
in the Great Desert.
I
And
fucking hated that quest, by the way.
yeah, it is a bitch.
Fuck yeah.
Um, so once I got there, I figured out like, oh, this is how you stun lock. And I figured out like how to stun lock everybody now. So now the game's like kind of super easy for me now.
No, that's
'Cause
what I was saying. That's what I was saying. Once you get to a certain point, you have so much, bro. Like late game, it's silly. Like you have so much beta energy, and then even if you invert, like you can add more burst energy through equipment.
yeah.
If you max all that shit out, you can basically stun lock a boss for its entire health bar. Like
Yeah, so I
probably,
I didn't even
yeah,
have like all the stuff
yeah,
unlocked yet, and I still stun locked them for the half the entire match.
yeah.
Especially once I got I just call it the devil trigger because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. Once I got the devil trigger type move or type ability, um, yeah, I stun locked them the entire game and or the entire half of the boss fight, and I killed him. And yeah, I mean, the game is just so weird. It's a solid for me. I mean, I think I'm like almost to the end of the game. I don't know, to
No,
be
the
honest
end
with you.
game is really good, dude. You have if you go do the final mission, you're at the final mission right now, basically.
Okay.
You can go do it whenever you. Well, actually, sorry, you said you just got to the desert. Did you do the mission after you get unlock the desert?
No, I've been doing the side content, so I
Okay,
did all
then
the
you have
side
two
content.
missions. You have two missions to go then.
Okay. Yeah.
So you
So
probably have I don't know 6 or 7 hours of main story left.
okay, I can do that. You can play the
Yeah.
game after you beat the main story, right? Or
Yes.
does it just finish the game and you gotta do new game plus?
I believe you can load your save, or you can go straight
Okay.
into New Game Plus.
Okay.
Choice is yours.
Um. So yeah. So like, I think it's safe to say I can give it a score. Um. I give the game like 7.5 to 8. Like just because like it's on the scale. The reason I have it on the scale is because that initial playthrough, the game is really the presentation of the game is really good. The music
Yeah.
is really good.
Yeah.
I actually I heard that this is a detriment to the game, but I actually do like the side characters. The side quest,
Hmm.
them what they're describing, the emotions they're going through, and then with the combined with the music you're hearing,
Yeah.
I don't know. The one that got me was the singing one. That one was I was like, all right, yeah,
Okay.
this one is really
That was
this is a
probably
really
one of the
good
stronger side quests.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um some there are some weaker quests. Like I didn't like the quest with the crazy lady. She's like, "Oh, my husband died," and then whatever. I'm not gonna spoil that one for you.
Yeah. Oh
But
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
that was like a weak quest or whatever, and everything like that nature. Then you got
The shop girls quest line. I don't know if you're done with that yet, but
yeah. So
that one's
that's
pretty good.
yeah, that was pretty good. There's like a lot of this world is like
There's a
fucking
lot of fucking lore, dude. Like,
yeah.
there's
This
a
world is
lot of lore. Their writers were busy.
yeah. This world
Yeah,
is also depressing as fuck. I had to find a
absolutely.
cat, and the cat was fucking dead, and I felt so
Everything in this world ends in death. Everything you do. It's miserable. It is
yeah,
miserable.
and I felt bad too because like I have two cats, and I was like, "What the fuck,
Yeah,
man?"
it
I was
was
hoping to,
yeah, that one was rough, dude. They're so out of nowhere too. It's like out of
yeah,
left field. Like people are like, "Cat? What the fuck's a cat?" You know, they're like all excited and it's like, "Oh my god."
yeah.
Yeah.
And then like I think it was like the only cat left on Earth or something like that, and
Yeah.
it died. So but yeah, so I mean, the world is pretty depressing, not depression, but depressing. Um, I do like to say the presentation is really good. It's a really well polished game. I do think they need to work on like the parry thing if they're gonna dedicate themselves to that. They do need to work on that.
Yeah,
Uh,
they need to make it consistent because it just
yeah,
feels. I think the other thing I noticed throughout the game too, there's a lot of enemies. Bosses do this less often, but there's a lot of normal enemies that just have very obtuse attack patterns where they're like, they'll
it's the
be
beast
like,
monsters,
dude.
man. They're
Well,
so
you remember
bad.
in Matrix 11 when you fight the fucking hammer guys and the ones that have the giant fucking concrete pillar that they're swinging at you.
Yeah,
Those are like one of the worst offenders where he's like, "Huh, uh, I'm gonna swing
you know who
now."
I
You
have the
know, it's
most.
like it's so fucking annoying, dude. And when you have the timing issues that you're talking about, it like exacerbates this experience
Yeah,
where it just fucking pisses me off. I'm like,
yeah,
I
it does
died
piss me
more to
off.
normal monsters in this game than bosses. Like I
No,
killed,
seriously.
dude.
For
Yeah,
me, I died to the hammerhead horse dude. That's
yeah,
my
yeah,
fucking arch nemesis. I fucking hate the hammerhead horse dude. Um, so it's like because they're like you said, their attack patterns are weird.
yeah,
Once I got into the desert and everything, I kind of figured everything out or whatever. Where monsters who I have like issues with, I just stun them to death, and then other
yeah,
monsters like I
yeah.
can parry them and everything like that. But I don't know. The games it's such a weird ebb and flow because I was just like, man, I fucking hate the game. Now I'm like, oh, okay. I this is actually a very decent game.
That's what I was
Um,
telling. It starts. It's frustrating how big the game is and how long it takes for the game to come online. I feel like it's
yeah,
really frustrating because you are technically well past the halfway point of the story now, you know, and that's kind of where you unlock everything. And it's just like, why did you guys wait this long to do this? That's the
yeah,
part that puzzles me about the game so much because, dude, I went back after I beat the game and I watched trailers from before the game came out, and I watched the one from State of Play, and they don't show Zion, they don't show either open world area, and they don't show the shooter levels that you do in that trailer at all. There isn't a single shot from any of those places. And it makes me think at some point, and maybe this is after Sony got involved, I don't know, but I think they went back and added a bunch of shit after that. And
mm,
I think they added those parts of the game that I just talked about. And frankly, I came out of this game, and after doing this video review for the game, I kind of came out of the game feeling like they I'm a little frustrated. I feel like they fucked up. I think they should have just added two more like big linear levels to the game and not done any of the open world shit at all, you know? And I
mm.
think the game would be a lot better. Frankly, you know, it's like I don't think the open world adds a whole lot to the game. It's like it's not bad. It's really not bad. I don't hate the
It's
open world.
yeah, it's not bad at all. I
It's
don't
just
think that
unnecessary. It's like Matrix 11 and then the final level of the game. Those two levels to me are so fucking good. Like I loved those levels a lot.
mm,
And then it just everything else pales in comparison to those to me. and I feel like they really should have just focused there. Like they
Yeah.
had something with those, and they kind of lost the plot. I feel like they wanted to make the game bigger, and it's like it didn't need to be. It could have just been a really focused, mission based, linear
Well,
game.
my thing
It's like,
was so if you go back and watch the state of plays, like I noticed it right off the bat.
mhm.
And a lot of people were like calling me like they were like Montrell. They did show gameplay, and I'm like they didn't show.
They were showing
Game,
finishers,
yes,
and
and
yeah, they were
I was
doing a
like
lot of that.
they're
Yeah.
showing finishers, but I'm like they're not showing the moment to moment like
Right. They
gameplay.
didn't linger. They didn't linger on an extended combat segment for like 20 seconds.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's where I was getting nervous about. And that actually
Like
contributed
they
to
were
why
not proud of their combat or something like that. Yeah.
exactly. And that actually
Yeah.
contributed to why I felt so betrayed when I played the demo. I was like, this is nothing but a fucking, Souls like game. But it's much more than that. They actually do try to these are one I'm not gonna say the only game. This is one of the few games I put Neo in there too that it changes the formula up to where it's not almost not comparable to Souls like at all, in
Yep.
my opinion.
That's why I keep
This
describing it like it's in the middle. It's
yeah,
between
it's
souls and character action. It's like right in the
exactly.
middle of the two. Like,
This game is a lot slower than
yep.
like Neo, in
Oh
my
yeah.
opinion, a lot
Yes,
slower.
definitely.
Um, but I think they did that for to ease it in for newcomers and
Dude,
everything of that
Eve
nature.
moves frustratingly slow in combat, like walking. Like her movement speed is horrible.
Yeah,
Uh you have to you have to use the dash. Like, so I abused the shit out of it in combat. Like anytime it was off cooldown, I was pretty much using it. It's like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I was doing the same. I'm doing the same thing. I think they do give you a lot of tools and everything, a lot of power ups and stuff like that. To like customize her and make Eve your own and everything.
Mhm.
I will say I wasn't. I thought I was gonna be super offended, or not super offended, but like turned off by all the um fan service, but I actually come to appreciate some of it. I was like, wow, that's nice. But
There's some crazy shit in there. That's why I don't understand the complaining, dude. Like,
but like you can choose your
yeah.
outfits and stuff, and I
Yeah.
got the one outfit where she has a sweater and like kind of like really short shorts or whatever because I like
Mm.
thighs, so I'm gonna see her thighs. I don't fucking care what anybody says.
Yeah, I'm a simple man. I didn't
Yeah,
I didn't I didn't care for any of that stuff. I put the black full body suit you get early in
yeah,
the game. I
yeah.
pretty much wore that for the entire game.
Okay.
I just like I don't I kind of like I don't want to be taken out of the game by seeing her running around in fucking booty shorts,
I will say
Like,
that. So the game it does feel jarring when you're doing certain scenes and stuff like that. That's why I wore like
dude, it
that's
makes
why
no sense within the context of the
yeah,
game.
like
Like, none.
so that's why I wore that outfit because that outfit's not she has like she's
Yeah.
barely showing her legs or whatever, but
Yeah.
she has like really high thigh socks on, like
Mhm.
thigh high socks on, and then she has like some little shorts on, and then she has like a full sweater on or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, but like
Yep.
yeah, but I was trying to find like a lore friendly one because I think the fucking black outfit I think sometimes I'm like that looks out of place. Like I was looking for like an outfit that what's the engineer girl's name? Fuck.
Lily.
Lily. I was looking for an outfit like Lily because I actually like Lily's outfit a lot.
Mm.
I think she looks really cool. Or Adam's outfit or whatever. Or even one of the androids that you save, like how they have that like kind of android looking body type deal. But I
Well,
don't
that's
know,
why I like the black one, because the back of it is very like machine
machine like.
orient. Yeah, you see like
And
all the
I'll check it
bits and
again.
pieces.
But
Yeah.
like her other outfits, like that you unlock, that I just haven't bothered to actually. You can unlock them, then you have to craft them. I haven't bothered to craft them because it's
Mm.
like,
You're not gonna wear them,
yeah, I'm
right?
not going to wear them because it's like
Yeah.
it is distracting. Like I got the bunny outfit and I unlocked it just to see how it looked. I crafted it just to see how it looked, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't play the game like this because I won't be able to take the game seriously. Like there are
Yeah.
like moments in the game
Yeah.
where it's like
Trying to be
very
super
hard.
serious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super serious shit, and then it's just like, oh, you're in a
Yeah.
bunny outfit with your thighs out and with
Yeah.
your
Oh, and
tits
her
out.
boobs are jiggling everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Well, there are some okay ones though. There's like a full Kill Bill tracksuit.
I'm trying to look for that. How do you get that one? I
You
haven't
didn't get
unlocked.
that one? I
I ain't
think
unlocked.
it must be from a side quest, or maybe you missed a
Okay,
chest somewhere or something in
maybe
one of the
yeah.
levels. Because yeah, it's like a yellow. It's just a yellow like jumpsuit. But it says kill on it, like from Kill Bill. So So that there's more than that too, and I think in New Game Plus you get like a bunch of color variations on a lot of the ones you have, which is cool.
Okay.
So if I ever do go back to the game, I'll probably explore it a little bit more. But yeah, I don't know. I was really simple with it. I just went with the black jumpsuit. I gave her some glasses. I put some earrings on her, and I don't even think I changed her hair. I hated all
Yeah,
the
all
hairstyles.
the
Like
hairstyles fucking suck.
the
Um,
default is the best one. Like
yeah, it is. It's
it
legitimately
was
the
kind of
best one.
annoying.
Yeah, I put some earrings on her, some glasses too, and then I called it a day. I did have her looking like Bayonetta at one point, and I was like, "Oh, she looks too
Mm,
much like Bayonetta. I'll just play Bayonetta if I wanted her to look like Bayonetta." So I changed her outfit a little bit and everything. I think that's why I didn't wear the black outfit anymore, because she was
mm,
starting to look too much like Bayonetta to me.
gotcha.
So but yeah, I don't know. I think the and then like the can collecting thing, which I think the animations for the cans are very funny.
It
But
is
then
funny.
like when you go to the collection rack or whatever for your cans,
Yeah.
uh like they have it advertised like, "Ooh, collect all 4, you can get this fucking outfit." It's like her in like some lingerie or something like that, some
Yeah.
black lingerie. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I guess that would be good motivation for some people, but for me, no.
Me too. The
Only thing
rewards
I
were
want is the
terrible, dude.
yeah,
Like it was like you can have one more fucking shitty potion than normal. It's like okay, like give me like a beta core or something or like a body
exactly,
core,
yeah,
Like
yeah.
fuck, dude. Like make it worth my while. This is pointless.
But that being said, it does. The world is. I think the world's pretty interesting. The story isn't the strongest, but like I said, I think the side missions and the world building are really good, actually. Um,
Are you on track for the secret ending?
so how do you know that?
Okay, so
I saw a little
have you seen the
gauge.
yeah, have you seen that gauge in the top right that has Lily's face on it with like
Yeah,
percentage? Is that at 100%?
yeah. It doesn't even have anything on it anymore.
Okay, if it's at 100%, then you've unlocked the secret ending. Basically,
Oh,
like
okay,
you've unlocked the ability to get the secret ending. There's a choice you get to make at the end of the game, and you have to make a specific. You have to choose one of them, and that's the
okay,
secret ending.
okay,
If you choose the other one, that's like the bad ending, and that happens on whether you've unlocked the secret ending or not. That's available to you.
okay.
Um, so yeah, I don't. I would almost recommend you make a save, like a different save, and try to do both. I only did the secret ending, and I came out of the game extremely unsatisfied. So
Okay.
I hated the way the secret ending played out. Like it's terrible. Like if you do that, and we want to talk about spoilers real quick, like I'll explain my feelings on it. But I hated it. It like ruined anything the narrative was trying to do. It completely fucking ruined it for me. Like I was like out on it. I'm like I like hope this isn't the path they go with going forward if they make another one of these games. Like because
Yeah,
I didn't.
I think they either are they are gonna make a different one of these games or just make like another version, like kind of
Different
a
character maybe.
spiritual successor to the game. Like it's not even Stellar Blade; it's a whole different world and everything like
Yeah.
that. But they take the mechanics and improve it on that world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It took me by surprise because the game is very fun. I think the game's quote unquote strength is also its weakness. I think they made the character. See, I'm probably going to contradict myself, but I don't care. They made the character too sexy, if that
Yeah.
makes any sense. And it's not too sexy in the way that it's distracting. It's too sexy in the way that it's distracting if you don't know what you're getting into. If you, because you can look at this game like a Gooner game, but the game's actually like has some really deep themes to it and things of that nature. That I think is like really cool. I think the music is like phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and it just kind of makes everything or whatever. I did, yeah, like I said, I started to notice that I was caring about the side characters and their things and everything like that. But it's just like it's just funny that you're doing this quest. And I guess this is how it was in Near Automata, but I didn't really, even when I blew off like 2B's fucking skirt, right? I didn't feel like I was out of place
Yeah.
really. But like in this game, like you'll be talking and then you're like, yeah, my sister, I loved her so much and her memory sticks not with us anymore and blah blah blah. And you're sitting there with like a fucking, two piece with side boob and cheeks hanging out everywhere. And it's very distracting.
And Eve like adjusts herself and
Yeah,
like the boobies are
exactly.
going all over.
And the
Like,
boobies are
dude,
going,
everybody has booby jiggle, by the way. All the female characters do, and it's distracting as fuck. Like fucking when Lily's in a cutscene, it drives me fucking crazy because I'm like,
Yeah,
she's literally like 14, you know, like.
I think
Well,
she's like she's as the body of a. Well, I ain't gonna get
yeah,
into
what
that.
are we doing here, man?
Yeah,
I'm just like, god damn it, like even this little shop girl, it's the same thing. I'm like, oh my god, but
yeah.
whatever, dude.
The little
It's
shop girl. I thought Lily was like maybe in my eyes, I thought she was like maybe like 18, 19.
yeah,
But the little shop girl, though, she's definitely like 14. She looks like
yeah,
she's about legitimately 13, 14.
yeah.
And I get creeped out every time I look at her because I'm like, am I supposed to be attracted to her? This is disgusting. Like I am
Hmm.
creeped the fuck out. Um,
Yeah.
but like all the other characters are like okay or whatever. I don't know. It's just a weird game, man. Because even if you I put my gameplay clips on Twitter and everything like that, and then I searched up the actual like hashtag and no bullshit, nothing but Rule 34 porn of her and like screenshots from the actual game. But
Just
like
what are we doing?
people aren't really playing the game. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, and that's like
This game's doing really well though. I
it
think it's
is.
selling a lot. Yeah.
It is, but if you were to just like, oh, if you're on Twitter, right, and you're like, let me look up gameplay footage of it, you're not going to get that. It's so weird because no one's sharing gameplay clips of like them actually fighting people, and it's so
Mm,
fucking frustrating because you can do some cool shit in here, even though it's a Souls adjacent type game. So I don't know, man. I like the game. I will say I like the game. My initial impressions were wrong on the game twice on the game. So
yeah.
I will admit defeat on that or whatever.
Well,
I do
it's gonna
like
get
it.
better, by the way. The best part of the game is the end. Like
Okay.
the final couple missions are not the one you're about to do is probably one of my least favorite parts of the game, but the one after that,
Hmm.
going into the end game, like that whole 5 to 6 hours is fucking phenomenal. Like, oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm really enjoying the game and everything like that. I do recommend people pick it up. I think I was gonna say like maybe it'd be a bargain bin game, but no, I think this is I got it for technically free because my wife gave me a PSN card, but I think even if without the PSN card, I think it's still worth your money. You get a good. It's not too long, especially if you just do the side quest and you don't do the request board stuff. If you
Yeah,
just do the side quest and the main quest, because you get a lot. The bulletin board stuff, you just get money. From what I understand so far, you just get some money and then maybe one off things here and there.
yeah,
But the side quest stuff is where you can get some good stuff from that. Um, and even those side quests, they are usually contained to the current uh region you're in, so you can do everything in like one go. And
yeah,
the world doesn't feel too big. I actually like Eve's movement speed, so they kind of do this on all platinum games and all like Devil May Cry games, where they give you a movement buff when you've been running for a long time, and then you start running
yeah,
faster. They all do that, which I like because they did it on Nier, they do it on Bayonetta, they do it on Devil May Cry and stuff like that. Um, and I do like, even though this is not like a platinum or Devil May Cry game or Capcom game, I do like that they added that here because that is a staple of like moving around and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean besides that, I mean like I said, there are my minor gripes. I think the parry system should be better, or just get rid of it, um, or yeah, just improve it. Because it is frustrating. It is. I think the dodge mechanic needs to be a little bit more forgiving, in my opinion.
mm,
Um,
mhm,
because this can scare a lot of people away, especially that first like 10 hours. That first 10 hours can scare a lot of people away, in my opinion. Like you really
yeah,
just like blasting through it because, like you said, like the animation. If you're expecting to do it like right when you hit the button, there's like a delay between that animation being active and then when you pressing the button. Once
well,
you get used to it, though,
you can't cancel out of a lot of attacks either, and it's not
yeah,
consistent which ones you can and cannot cancel out of. Like
yes,
the early parts of the light combo, you can kind of cancel out of because they're quick, or maybe it isn't canceling; it's just the attack so quick that you can make up the difference. But yeah, when you're later in combos, you're locked. Your animation locked. So
Yeah, I think the heavier, like the triangle attacks, you're
yes,
locked into those. I think you can cancel out the square attacks, but the triangle attacks, the heavy
which
attacks,
is weird. That is weird to
yeah.
do that. Like it should
I
be
think
one
they
or the
should.
other.
I think
You
they
either
wanted
can
to
or you
make it
can't.
more methodical what you have to do with combos. You have to be mindful of because I did
Yeah.
find myself doing that. Like, okay, I can't do this combo against this certain character or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, I think I still think though, even with all the moves and everything, I don't like getting hit off screen. I fucking hate that shit.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think the camera, if you're gonna do something like that, maybe have the camera pan back a little bit more so I can see more of the field. I don't know, or make the coding to where like they have in Devil May Cry, like where they have the characters coded. Even in Bayonetta, I think it's like that too, where if the enemies know they're off screen, so they won't like do attacks off screen. They'll make sure they're on screen before they do an attack.
Yeah.
And this game obviously doesn't have that. Um, I don't like it's like for instance for the desert, right? The ones that they're underground and then they come up and
Oh
hit you.
my fucking
Like
god. Yeah.
you would be fighting two other monsters, and then they just come out of fucking nowhere, and there's no cues or nothing, and like they can be across because sometimes they travel from a distance.
They have very large patrol paths. Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
Underground. Yeah.
yeah, so they can be like, a couple kilometers away, and then they come and hit you or whatever the case may be because you're in their patrol path.
That
So I
zone
don't.
sucks, dude. The
Yeah,
desert, I fucking
I
hate the
did run.
desert.
I died twice to the quicksand shit because no one tells you about quicksand shit. It's just there, and I'm like,
Yeah,
all
dude.
right,
Yeah. Oh
cool.
yeah.
Even if you scan, like maybe I'm not paying attention when I
You can't
scan.
even. You can barely see it. It's huge. They are huge. These quicksand traps. They're fucking gigantic, and you have like, if you're not aware, like, dude, like, guys, like, let me just explain this real quick. This this mechanic is exclusive to the desert. There's no other part of the game where you die to like the environment like this, like in one shot. Obviously, if you fall in a pit, sure. No,
Yeah,
actually, that's not even true. Even when you fall in a pit, the game will just take a little health away from you and put you back like before the jump or whatever.
yeah, yep.
So
You're right.
so like you go to the desert and there's these quicksand traps that are huge that you can't really see very well. The scan does not indicate them in any way. Doesn't and when you get caught in it, you're dead. There's no way out. You cannot get out. You die. You instantly die. Like, and trust me, I think I explained this a couple weeks ago, and it's gonna be in the video review. I fucking cover it in there because this shit made me so fucking mad. That quest you were talking about, the one where you fight the dude on the roof,
Yeah.
I died twice on that quest, and I had not gotten the camp yet inside the city where that is.
Oh.
So I died multiple times trying to get back into that spot, and it teleported me way to the north. That was the closest camp. So I had to like run through the entire city again. All the enemies were respawned, and then I died again to some fucking dumb bullshit like lasers they put in front of a chest that were one-shot lasers and shit. And then I said, okay, I got pissed again, and I said, fuck it, okay, maybe I need to go around the other side. Maybe it's easier to get in here. And I go outside, I find a camp right outside the fucking right outside the city, but there was a fucking door you cannot unlock from the outside. You have to be in the city to unlock the fucking door. I hadn't done that yet. So I'm running all the way around. There's more enemies. I'm fighting these enemies. And I'm like, oh, I see an opening between a couple buildings. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is how you're supposed to get in, right? So I start running into the alleyway.
Quicksand right there.
And there's a fucking quicksand trap right there. I die again. I'm so fucking mad at this point, dude. So I run around again, and I go further south. I try to go around the south side of the fucking city, and I went from the north all the way around the fucking, like, I'm going counterclockwise around this place. And dude, I'm walking in. There's like a destroyed highway. You're running up to it, and there's another quicksand trap, and I die again.
What? I didn't get to that one yet.
I wanted to fucking murder somebody, dude. I was so done. By this point, I just went from the north side and I just ran through. And I didn't fight a single enemy. I just ran to the platforming section you have to do, and I managed to get there without dying. And I was so fucking pissed off. I was like, I wanted to murder someone. I'm like, why is this all here? What is this? Like, this is my point about the open world, is how like incongruent it is with the rest of the game. It's like it's like you make these really tight, well-designed linear levels that are very fair and like there's not a lot of bullshit in them. And then
No.
you make this
Okay.
open world and you do this? Like,
I can't. So even with the linear levels, this game. So first off,
yeah.
I'll sandwich it.
Yeah.
So I
Compliment
do,
sandwich.
yeah, I do love the platforming in this game. I think the platform is actually really good.
Yeah.
I do like the puzzles as well.
Yeah.
So it's not even a sandwich. I gave my two compliments out. So
Yeah.
this,
Okay.
the puzzles are really good. I actually like the
Yeah.
puzzles a lot, and the platform is really good. And I even like the platforming puzzles, or whatever the
Hmm.
case may be. So I like how everything, even though yes, they do have the painted fucking blocks you're supposed to jump, they're not apparent in your view. You have to scan and actually look around to
Yeah.
to get to places. So I actually appreciate that. It reminded me of like old school, like Tomb Raider platforming type stuff. Um, Now that being said, one, yes, the sand traps are fucking abysmal. I ran into two sand traps and I hated it because it came out of nowhere. And then two, the linear levels, I complained about it with the desert a little bit, but the
Yeah.
linear levels, it does it so much. I fucking hate ambushes. I
I
don't like unfair ambushes, bro. Like there
you're gonna love the certain part of my review, bro. I go off about this shit. I can't.
there are certain parts of the
Oh my
game
god.
where you
Yeah.
cannot, there is no fucking way you know that there's a monster there. It
Yeah.
just comes out of nowhere. And you're like, bro, what the fuck? Even my wife was like, damn, she just slapped the fuck out of you. Like, it was like
Yeah.
the one little monster just slapped the fuck out of me. I was like, bro, how the fuck was I supposed to know there's a monster right there?
Yeah.
It literally made no fucking
Oh,
sense. I was,
you're about to be in for it. Actually, now that I think about it, the next level is, dude, it's the worst part of the game with that shit. I'm totally with you. The ambush stuff. I don't understand why they got so trigger happy with this because it is just throughout the beginning part of the game. I'd say the first like 2/3 of the game, it's just
yes.
ambushes everywhere in these levels, dude. And the shooter levels are the worst place where they do this. And I fucking hated those levels because of this shit, where it's just ambush after ambush after ambush. They'll ambush you, and you'll clear the room, and then you'll go up to the door, and there's another ambush. It's like, what are you doing? Like, what the fuck is this shit? Why do you think this needs to be like this? Like, the shooter levels are annoying because they're trying to do some like weird survival horror vibe with it, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's not fun. It sucks. Like, you just have this shitty gun that is just not interesting. The enemies in those levels are repetitive. The encounters are repetitive. Like, it's just a fucking nightmare. And it's the worst part of the game. Like, I think I mentioned this last week. That's the reason I don't want to play the game again, because I don't want to fucking do those levels, dude. I wish I could skip them. They're so fucking bad. So I'm totally with you. That's why I love the end of the game, because the ambush encounter design almost completely goes away. It doesn't make any sense. There's like none in the final level, like almost none that I can even remember. Like, it's fucking insane. Like, I don't understand what the difference was there. Most of the encounters in the final level are right in front of you. They're laid out in front of you, and you get to pick them apart the way you want, you know? So I don't get it. I don't know. It's weird.
Bro, it was just weird ambushes. Like, I can't even remember. I think it was like a bus or something. I walked by a bus, and then like a fucking random monster just came out of nowhere. I'm like, why is he even there? Like,
Yeah.
there was no reason for him to be there besides and there's not like you can see him like, oh, maybe if you peek through the broken glass of the bus, you can see the monster. You just didn't pay attention. Like, no, bro. There literally wasn't no way for me to know unless I scan randomly, but there wasn't
Oh, yeah.
a reason for me to scan there. So I don't know. The
No,
ambush.
my favorite one that happens is in the level you're about to do, where you clear a room out and you have to go press a button to open a door, and you go press the button, and then you're walking out, and an enemy spawns after you press the button and ambushes you as you're walking out of the room. It's like, what? Where did you come from? These things are supposed to be unintelligent monsters. Like, how are you smart enough to just sit there and be like, oh, I'm going to get her. You know, I'm going to get her. It's like, nah, dude. Like, it's just not cool. It's just annoying.
Yeah, no, it's very annoying. So Just be prepared for that. I did mentally. So the first shooter section, I didn't get to the second one yet, but the first shooter section, I did mentally prepare myself for the ambushes. So I
Mhm.
was angling my cameras and like open up chests to like actually
There's only
look.
so much you can do. There's only
Yeah.
so much you can do. Yeah, they
Uh.
get really creative.
Uh. Some of them I caught like it was like I angled my camera up to the ceiling. I saw him
Yep.
like literally appear out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, he's here. He comes or whatever. But
Yep.
then like yeah, some of them were just like totally random. I'm just like, bro, and it don't even scare me. Like it's like because I play survival horror games, so it's like this is like a shitty, like you said, a shitty Resident Evil.
Mhm.
Like I'm just like, bro, like I don't care. Like I don't know. It's weird. If they were trying to go for this vibe, it definitely didn't hit home.
Which is, the funny part about this is I almost have seen no criticism at all for these levels. Like, I don't understand what I'm missing here because I think they're completely out of place and they don't make any sense within the game and they suck. They're not good
Hey,
levels,
hey,
you know?
man, welcome to character action. They're
I
they're
don't know.
following the code of character action
Formula?
game. Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
No. Dude, I
Like,
just want more of the combat. Give me more bosses, okay? Like that's what I want. Like that was the fun part of the game, you know?
yeah, I really wish there was a way. I know they're coming out. I saw them tweet that they're coming out with the boss rush mode. But I really wish there was a way to go back and fight the bosses. 'Cause the bosses are really fun to fight.
Yeah,
Um,
they are.
but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't like the shooter sections. Thank God there's only two of them.
Well, it
But
sucks because the levels themselves are actually really cool. Like the
yeah,
setting and the design of them from an aesthetic viewpoint. Like,
yeah.
but yeah, it's just I don't know. They counter suck.
Yeah, they do. So, but it's just one of those things where like I said, they feel like they may feel like oh this is too much combat, and it's like this is what I come to the game for. Like stop giving me other shit. I do like how I can surf on my blade and all that shit
Yeah,
like that. That shit was
that's
pretty
cool.
cool. But
That
like
is cool.
yeah, I didn't need a whole ass like fucking fake ass Dead Space level. Like I didn't need that shit, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. That's all I got though. I'm gonna
Okay,
watch the review when you drop it on like Saturday or Sunday.
okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, there shouldn't be any. There's no real spoilers in it. I didn't. I lost all my footage from the last level of the game, and I was pissed. I was so mad. I was so mad. But it's okay. I didn't need any of it, so it's fine. So yeah, we'll wrap that up next week when you're done with it too. I'm sure you'll finish it probably this week, but um and yeah, maybe we'll talk a little bit of spoilers. I don't want to go super deep. The game's not like fucking Shakespeare or anything like that, but there is some notable stuff at the end of the game to talk about. So all right. Well, Montrell, let's get into the rest of the show here. I do want to do one correction from last week. We were talking about Arcane Austin. They closed
Mhm.
with the Microsoft closures, and I had mentioned that they didn't make Dishonored. They actually did make Dishonored 1. I learned
Okay.
after the episode, so just want a correction there. So that actually really does suck. Like this was a studio that had really made some cool stuff. So
Oh
yeah.
yeah. And speaking of that, yeah, you don't have it in here, but it just happened today. So,
Mhm.
uh, yeah, Microsoft Activision announced they're opening up another game studio.
What? Yeah, that's right. I did see that news. Oh my god. Yeah, I didn't
So
even think about it till you just said it. How fucked up that is.
yeah, so
What the fuck?
I mean, even though Arcane fucked up on one game, I don't think that deserved the studio to be
But it's a
fucking shut
different
down.
it's a different vertical, right? That was Bethesda where they closed all that shit.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
that's true. That's true.
God,
Yeah.
Bethesda must fucking hate Microsoft right now. They just like you're gonna close our studios and then you're opening shit on Activision's side. What the fuck, guys? It's like, yeah, I don't know. All right, Montreal, let's get into the news proper here. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about, but let's start. I had made the joke last week that Sony wasn't gonna do shit in terms of a showcase anytime soon. Well, right after the episode, a few days later, rumors started percolating that we're probably getting a showcase this month, and then Sony essentially confirmed it in their yearly financial results, where the Hiroki Totoki had announced that Herman Holst and Hideaki Nishino are going to be the CEOs of PlayStation, joint CEOs of PlayStation, taking over for Jim Ryan. But they said, he said, quote, later this month, you will learn more about the long-term vision for Sony Group and the essential role SIE plays in that vision, end quote. Um, and basically indicating that we're gonna hear something soon about this. And then uh, if you think about last year, they actually did a showcase in May last year. I think it was May 24th, and that was the same day that Sony proper announced a whole ton of shit for them happening in the next year as well. So I think they're going to take that same approach potentially this year. It sounds like so we very likely might be getting a PlayStation showcase in the next week or two. So given that, Montrell, does that excite you? I mean, what do you think we could see here? There's just so much that we don't know right now.
I think we're gonna get a whole bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry. I don't know. Unless they're keeping their keys like way close to them, I think we're just gonna get like a bunch of not bullshit because I'm actually looking forward to a couple indie titles. If they do get
Mm.
announced for PlayStation. I keep
Well,
seeing on my Twitter timeline a lot of indie games, and
mhm.
I'm like, man, why can't they just come out now? But I understand it being
Yeah,
made like by one person. But I think we might get some VR shit. I think that's gonna be a lot of the shit. To be
yeah.
honest with you,
You think so? Really?
yeah,
You don't
I
think they've
think
just abandoned it the way they abandoned the Vita?
no, I think they're still gonna try to do one last push. They're gonna do one
Okay.
last push, and then they may abandon it after that. Um, I
But
think
in
we're gonna
terms
get
of
the
yeah,
PlayStation. Like they're gonna show off the PlayStation hardware.
yep,
The slim,
the Pro.
yeah, the Pro, yeah, the Pro models and stuff like that.
Hmm.
They're probably gonna expand on what they can do and stretch that out for a while. They may also expand on like TV stuff for PlayStation, like their um maybe some shows or something like that, or season 2 of The Last of Us or something of that nature. Um, I really think it's just
I
gonna be
don't
a
think
bunch
they'll
of
show that
bullshit.
here. I don't.
I, I think so.
I actually totally disagree with you. I think Sony tends to get a lot of the hard hitting third party announcements in their showcases.
Mhm.
And I think that could definitely happen with Capcom here. There's rumors of Resident Evil 9, maybe.
Okay.
Um, Possibly being shown. We could get some Monster Hunter here with Monster Hunter supposedly coming out early next year. I could see that. And then for Sony themselves, I mean, dude, in terms of the first party, I mean, fuck, dude, there's like so much that we don't know because like Santa Monica is making another game that isn't God of War related, so they've been supposedly working on that for a while. Naughty Dog has also been working on another game that isn't The Last of Us, so there might be something there. There's that Uncharted game that's been fucking rumored for like fucking I feel like 8 years now. And then there's Ghost of Tsushima 2. It's kind of probably time to maybe start showing that. In terms of Gorilla, there's the Horizon, maybe that MMO they might be ready to show, or might be one of these other games that they're working on in the Horizon universe. I mean, I could see a lot of that being shown. Maybe showing the Venom game that has not been officially revealed.
Oh
I could see
yeah,
that
yeah, that's
happening
true.
for sure. Um, there's a rumor of a Lego collaboration happening with Horizon. Also could see that being shown certainly. And then Bend. I mean, it's been 5 years since Days Gone came out. I know they went through a lot of turmoil, but there might be something percolating there that they might be potentially ready to announce. So I mean, I just feel like there's just a lot that's been building up, kind of piling up, and it might be time for Sony to start showing us this stuff. They did say, they said we covered this a few weeks ago, where they said that there's going to be no new first party games in their major first party franchises this fiscal year, meaning basically now through like next April. But that doesn't mean some of the smaller stuff that I mentioned in there might not come. Like there might be something in there that comes out this year. So um, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of potential here. Certainly, I could see a VR segment, one more push, like you said, potentially, and then I don't think they'll show any TV stuff here. They don't. They haven't really done that before. I would be surprised if they broke that trend. They usually try to keep this pretty focused on games, but definitely hardware. I could totally see that. I mean, they almost have to announce it at some point soon. So I don't know. I think there's a lot to potentially be excited about, but we've been disappointed before, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't want to get my hopes too high. You know, and I can see something from Square too. I don't know. I mean, obviously Rebirth just came out, Final Fantasy 16 came out last year, but they have multiple teams, so there could be some game, in the works that they might show off there. Maybe that Dragon Quest remake that they're doing. I think it was Dragon
Mm,
Quest 3 that they're doing, that
yeah.
HD 2D remake. Assuming that project's still going, but I think it probably is. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of stuff potentially, but we'll see. I'm hoping it happens before the next episode, but it might be the one. It might be. You know what they're gonna do, dude? Now that I think about it, it's 5:16 right now. Yeah, next week would be the 23rd. Yeah, dude, they're gonna have it on Thursday next week. Fuck me. They
Yeah.
always do it on Thursday, dude. We're probably gonna have to like push the fucking episode like we usually do.
That's gonna be a problem because I'm gonna be out of town from
Okay, we'll figure it out.
from Friday
Don't
to
do it, Sony. Do it on Wednesday,
yeah,
please,
do it on
please,
Wednesday.
please, for the
They
love of
may do it
God.
on Thursday while we're at work. Usually it's in the middle of the day.
It's usually in the middle of the day, or
Yeah.
well, I don't know. They've done them late at night before too.
Yeah, that's true. They have.
That's why
Yeah.
we've had to push before because they've been literally during our recording
Mm,
time.
yeah.
So we'll see.
Or we can
We'll see
like
what
watch it live. I mean, that'd be
do a live
cool.
stream.
Yeah, do a live stream
I don't
and then
know.
just record it.
Yeah. So we'll whatever happens, we will cover it in some form. So um, anything else on the showcase?
No, that's it.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Next story is also Sony focused. Their full year financial results came out. And like I mentioned, new CEOs were announced, joint CEOs. Hiroki Totoki is going to be over those guys. He is the, I don't remember what his exact title is going to be, but he's over PlayStation as a whole. Basically, they're going to be reporting to him. So, but yeah, in terms of their numbers, they're doing pretty well. Their net sales were up 12% year on year at 72.2 billion, which is insane that Sony makes this much money. Operating income was up 5%. Game and network services net sales was up 17%. That was 27.5 billion for that. And then their operating income under game and network services was up 16%. That's 1.9 billion for the full year. That was for the full year. They ended up selling about, I think it was 20.9 million PlayStation 5s in the 12 months, which was less than their original projection of 25 million, but obviously still extremely strong for them. So compared to Microsoft, which is just like embarrassing at this point, can't even break 1 million in a quarter. So that should kind of tell you the difference of where we are with these two companies at the moment. But yeah, no, they did pretty well. They did mention that we are now on the kind of the other end of this generation, the back half of it. So they are expecting hardware sales to kind of chill out a little bit and likely decline for the next few years, but until the next console comes out. But you know, that will come with probably increased software sales. So that's usually how it goes. So
Are we really on the back half of this generation?
yeah, man, came out in 2020. I mean, we're literally, I think, right now, basically, quite literally at the half. What would be considered probably the halfway point, like at this exact moment.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's
Because
true.
yeah,
I mean,
because it's
because
been
I
3.5 years since the PS5 came out.
man, we just started getting like really good games for I would say both consoles, but Xbox has been fucking shit. So
I mean, that's usually how it goes, dude. The first year or two of new consoles is usually pretty light, and then the back end of the generation is just fucking jam packed with shit. Um, so it doesn't really surprise me necessarily. But anything you're taking in particular out of these numbers or announcements?
no, these units, I'm glad that they're on the shelves. I mean, it's pretty surreal though
Mhm.
that I can walk into a Target and just see a PS5 there. It's kind of wild to me. How like
I know we were so used. You just get so used to them not being available. But yeah,
yeah.
I mean they've been available like that for like a year now.
Yeah, yeah, it's still, but it's still jarring because I remember when me and you first got ours, like we had to fucking pre-order like right then and there to get it,
Dude, I
and we got
pre-ordered
lucky.
on through Sam's Club on their fucking app, dude. Like, what the fuck? And I didn't think I was gonna get the console because they like canceled my order and then it just showed up randomly the day of release. So yeah. Other notes in here, Helldivers 2 has sold 12 million copies in the first 12
Holy
weeks.
shit!
Yes, that is very, very strong for that game, which explains its top place on the charts for Circana. And then just some other interesting tidbits here. 286.4 million games were sold on PS5 over this 12 months. 39.7 were first party titles. Comparison to the previous fiscal year, 264.2 million games were sold total, and 43.5 million of those were first party. So total number of games went up year over year, but the number of first party games sold went down, which
That
is
makes
interesting.
sense because there
What
wasn't that
makes
many that
sense.
came out. Yeah.
There was no major, right? There was no major title really, and honestly, that number would have been hilariously low if Helldivers 2 wasn't such a big seller.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah. But yeah. Anything else on this?
Nope, that's it.
All right, moving on. Square Enix. Oh, Square Enix. So, Square Enix, in comparison to Sony, had a very bad year. um, they are doing a bunch of layoffs in publishing, IT, and their Square Enix Collective, indie, which is their indie games label. And that this comes on the heels of their financial results for the year, where they wrote down $140 million in losses, citing multiple game cancellations for unannounced games that we don't know anything about, or what those games were. And they just had to write down those losses basically for the development costs of those games, which directly impacted their financial results, which I think they said they were like down 70% or something like that, due to that. But in terms of taking that out year to year, taking the losses out from the cancellations, um, their game sales rose by 2.6%, but their profit overall fell 15.8%, which is interesting given in this fiscal year for them. Um, they released Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Foam Stars, which that one's not a surprise, and then the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters were released on PlayStation as well. Um, Obviously, that doesn't include a lot of other games they released, but yeah. So I mean, it should have been a strong year for them in terms of like big IP and stuff, but just didn't work out that way. So this is kind of coinciding with the an announcement from them as part of this. Um, I'm just going to read the quote here. So, Square Enix reboots and awakens. This is going to be a 3-year plan of theirs, and they want to shift to a multi platform strategy. Aggressively pursue a multi platform strategy that includes Nintendo platforms, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. End quote on that. So, Square has been kind of almost exclusively Nintendo and Sony, and then some mild dabbling in PC with certain ports of games, for several years now, and it seems like that strategy has not been working out for them in the in recent years. So they're going to be turning their eyes to all platforms as a result, and that, I mean, I don't know. What do you think about this? Because this makes total sense to me, frankly. I don't know why they pursued so heavily this exclusive these exclusive deals with Sony and Nintendo so much.
I thought maybe they get a lot of money up front, but it looks like
They
they
must. I mean, they definitely do. It just probably doesn't buoy the opportunity costs, right? Of
yeah.
selling on other platforms.
Excuse me. Yeah. So, to be honest with you, they can. Well, I guess PC, but I guess PC is a big market now. Since a
Yeah.
lot of people from Xbox are going over to PC or just
Hmm.
PlayStation in general. Um, yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you. Like, I, I'm glad that they're focusing more, but my thing is like, how much more can you focus? You see what I'm saying? Like, I feel
Right.
like they're already focused with Final Fantasy, right? I didn't really feel like any other projects were coming out, except for like maybe Foam Stars, but like they were already pretty focused with like Final Fantasy and everything like
Well,
that.
you remember a couple years ago though, where they were like pooping out games, basically, like
Yeah,
game like they had games coming out literally like days apart that were in the same fucking genre,
Yeah,
at a
that's
certain
true.
point.
That's
Like you
true.
remember like Diofield Chronicles coming out next to like Valkyrie Elysium, and then they had
Yep, yep.
they had like a tactics
Harvest
game.
Stella.
Oh, Tactics Ogre Reborn came out like 2 months after Diofield, and yeah, you had Harvestella come out the same month as like Tactics. It's like like they were just getting crazy with it, and they that was the other thing they mentioned here. Sorry, I didn't mention this, is that they want to focus on less games but higher quality games.
Yeah. So I think that's a good bar to go for right now until you can get
Mhm.
everything straight. I
Yep.
would I like to see another Tactics Ogre, or would I like to see another, Front Mission, or another, all these other games they have in their catalog. I would like to see it, but like it's crunch time now, so yeah, I don't know. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That's interesting that it's like didn't sell to their expectations.
Mhm.
I'm actually surprised, to be honest with you, that it didn't. I think I think Helldivers is such a disruptive momentum
Yeah.
that a lot of people weren't expecting it. And I honestly think that it kind of bit into their sales from Final Fantasy VII. I'm
Mm.
pretty sure a lot of people um they had either a choice to buy Final Fantasy VII or if I buy Helldivers, and they just bought Helldivers. It's $40. Like I don't need to spend
Mhm.
$70 or whatever. Um, that, and on top of that, like you said, Final Fantasy VII being exclusive, I think really hindered it a lot as well, because it's not on Xbox, it's not on PC, or whatever the case may be. It's only on PlayStation. So if I really wanted to play it, I would have to get a PlayStation 5 to play it, because it's not on PS4 like the old Final Fantasy it is.
Right. Right.
So I would have to get PS5, and I have to buy it. And I mean, we all know the economy's kind of like on the downside, even though everybody says the economy's up, but realistically, it's kind of on the downside right now. So shelling out $500 and then the extra additional $70 is not really on a lot of plates right now. So
Yeah.
um,
Yep.
once you look at the grand scheme of things, you can see why it didn't sell too well. And on top of that, it was just packed heavy that month. They had a lot of competition that month.
Yes.
Within those couple of weeks, they had Helldivers come out a couple weeks before.
Grand Blue
Um,
was earlier in the month.
Grand Blues earlier in the month.
You had Rise of the Ronin looming. You had Dragon's Dogma 2 looming.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of competition that month, or around that time period. So yeah, maybe they should consider a different. I say, in my opinion, they should start releasing Final Fantasy games in like the summertime. I think that's the best time to do it, because everyone will have time, especially the college students. They'll
Yeah.
be out of school and stuff, and they can buy it and play
Yeah.
it.
Isn't it weird? Do you feel like the summer months have kind of lightened up again in terms of the release schedule? I just feel like the last few years, like companies are really heavily releasing their games either the first like basically February through like May, or they're releasing them from September through like November, like into November. It's like it
Yeah,
feels like there's gaps that have reformed. Like there are still games coming out, don't get me wrong, there's games coming out almost every week of the year nowadays, but it's like the big stuff, the AAA stuff. Like I don't feel like there's a lot of those coming out in the summer anymore.
so they start to come out, and it's so weird that they do this. You usually get a lot of big releases in August too, but
Mm,
they don't
true.
do it in. But that's back to school time, so
Isn't
it's
it the
just.
opposite? Wouldn't you want to do it in June? Like, I don't
Yeah, that's
understand. Like,
that's exactly what I'm saying. I
yeah,
don't
I don't
understand.
know.
Maybe it's like a quarterly thing. I think
Yeah,
maybe it's a quarterly thing. I know. Usually for businesses, like the first quarter of the year is like a huge deal. So that makes sense why they want to release it first quarter. Well, my thing is like, I would rather sacrifice a weak first quarter to have a really strong second quarter or third quarter.
yeah.
Um, make the difference up there or whatever. But maybe that's not how investors think, or
Nope.
and
They
stuff
want
like
it
that.
every quarter, dude. You gotta grow every quarter, baby.
Yeah.
It's
So
fucking so dumb.
Um, yeah, but for me though, I think personally, like even if you want to say like, well, Montreal, typically people are traveling around that time of the year. They're not
Hmm.
indoors, or
True.
they're not indoors in the summertime. It's
I
like,
mean, fuck, I was though.
but yeah,
Jeez.
I was just about to say that, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, people gotta come home at night though. You gotta come
Yeah.
home eventually.
Right.
So even when I do hang out in the daytime, which I don't in fucking Texas, I hang like when I go out on in Texas, right? Like if I go hiking, or if I'm hanging
Mhm.
out with my wife. Some like 8 to 12, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. is our time limit, and then we're inside from 12 p.m. all the way to like maybe 8 o'clock again, and then we
Mm,
go out at night or whatever.
mhm.
Because it's just too fucking hot, and a lot of like, and I say us because we're actually one of the booming economies in the United States. So like the southern states have a really robust economy right now compared to like the northern states. So it's like those southern states are people are inside. Like there's no
Mhm.
one outside, especially in like Arizona, Nevada, and all that shit like that. No one's outside,
Yeah.
and everyone's in
Well,
air
if you are,
conditioning.
you're dead. You're
Yeah, you're
dying.
you're literally, and I'm not even joking to you. Like people who
Yeah.
live up north, we're not even joking. Like it can
Yeah.
get easy to 110 out here, and you
No,
just want to
it
fucking
is
kill
legitimately
yourself.
dangerous to be outside in the
Yeah.
summer sometimes.
So, and I think maybe it's different for Japan. I know it's different for Japan. They have different climates and stuff.
Mhm.
So, maybe more people are outside and traveling and stuff like that. But I think for like games like Final Fantasy and stuff like that, I would rather release it in the summertime, where there's little to no competition releasing the game at the beginning of the year where there's so much competition. Um,
Yeah.
or at the end of the year, like you said, the last quarter of the year where there's a lot of competition for holiday and stuff like that. Um, I don't know because you can make a lot of money at the end of the year too with like sales and uh, you know, deals and holiday deals and all that shit like that. So I don't know. Maybe the game industry in itself need to just like rethink the way they. I think they should stop approaching. It's kind of too late now. They're in the bed with the devil, but newer game companies should stop releasing stuff based off quarterly stuff, or like just be a private company and not have investors. That way you can release it anytime the fuck you want to release it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, God forbid. um yeah, no, I mean I mostly agree with everything you said there. Um I don't mind the idea of Square focusing on less games that are higher quality. I think Square as a third party publisher is one of the best in terms of AAA quality.
yeah,
When they really focus on something, they make special games. Like as much as I had some problems with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, it is a fucking marvel though of a game that they made. Like I can't believe they made it in the time frame that they made it. It's insane. It is like actually an achievement in the industry in that regard. So um but I do hope though that it's not a complete like disavowalment of the smaller games, like you said, Tactics Ogre or those kind of like smaller tactical games. Like just keep the budgets reasonable in those situations. Writing down 140 million, like let's say they even canceled 7 games, like that's 20 million per game on average. It's like what the hell were you making? I would be like really curious like what they canceled.
yeah.
I'd love to know that information because that's a lot of fucking money to write down, dude. Um and they said it was several projects, so that indicates probably 5 or more. So I don't know, it's an interesting, it's kind of interesting, but um we're kind of it feels like we're past the point where Square was going to get acquired anymore. I don't think that's a realistic outcome at this point. I mean, they literally basically saying like Sony, like, sorry, but fuck you, dude. Like, we gotta focus on our core business now, and
And
get to
honestly, I
everybody.
don't think no one's in the way the economy is right now, especially for a lot of Western companies. Uh, it's too risky. Creditors aren't lending out as much money as they once were. That's why I believe in my heart of hearts that Xbox had to let a lot of those companies go
Yeah,
because the capital for lending is just crazy, and they had to kind of re up and pay that money back. So
I don't know, but this is Microsoft we're talking about, dude. They make like
I-
$13 billion of profit a quarter, man. Like, I don't know. They're
yeah, but I mean, those companies they're there for a reason. Like that's a
yeah. No, I
so they
know.
they
You're right.
probably had to trim the fat somewhere, even if
You're
it
right.
is like a 1 or 2% fat, it's still trimming the fat or whatever. So
Yeah. Probably not even
yeah,
that high. It's like 0.1% of the
probably
fat
yeah. I'm
for
I'm
for
being very
Microsoft.
generous. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think I think we're all coming off the high of which I mean, me and you predicted this like 4 or 5 years ago, or 4 years ago at this point. Holy shit. Me and you predicted this like all these hirings and big projects and stuff like that from the COVID that wasn't going to last long. Like it was a moment in time, and I don't know how other analysts didn't do it. And now I just feel like we're seeing the fallout of this, and it sucks that no
Yeah.
one got this right. Like I mean no one. It's not just the game industry. No one got this right. Like there are layoffs happening everywhere, and it's
Oh
for
yeah.
literally no reason. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just everyone overhired. Like that's the
Yeah.
main juxtaposition a lot of people are taking.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about one more and maybe get a little deeper into that. But I want to move on to the next topic real quick here. Is Yoko Taro, and who is the director of the Nier games, the series producer of the Nier games, Yosuke Saito, and the composer Keiichi Okabe are confirmed to all be working on a new game together. And
The Gooter Squad.
Saito, Saito said, "quote I'll have something a bit more put together to say in the not too distant future, so please stay tuned. It might be near, it might not be near." End quote. So Montrell, the big question: is it near?
It's gonna be Drakengard.
Dude, what a troll! That would be such a troll job. It's got to be near, man.
No,
Right?
I think it's gonna be Drakengard.
Oh my fucking god!
What's wrong with that?
Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
Tell that to Andy. I wish Andy was here right
Oh my
now.
fucking god, dude! You want to talk about like Nier is like literally mainstream at this point. You know, it's like why would you go back to an IP that is like fucking I don't even want I don't want to be mean. I mean, I haven't really played these games, so like I'm not speaking from firsthand experience, but my impression of them is they're like a C. This is like a C plus like series, you know. Like, why would you do that? I don't understand. But whatever. Maybe you're right. I don't know. I think it's a Nier game. It's got to be a Nier game.
Well, technically, if you want to be technical, right?
They
Drakengard
are
isn't.
Nier
They
games.
are
Yeah,
near
they're
games.
not called Nier though. I know. I like. Trust me. I understand that Nier Automata, the whole timeline of Nier Replicant and Automata, is a future of one of the endings of Drakengard. I think it was 2 or 3. I don't remember which one.
I think it's
I know
three.
that. I understand that. You know, like that's a real canon thing in the series. But again, does anybody care? Like, I
I
don't
think.
know.
I think. I mean, you can say that about Nier, right? No one really cared about Nier until
They made
um
Automata. Yeah.
Automata. Yeah. So I think they can make people care because like all you have to do is say like Taiyo Kataru and then kind of tie it into Nier somehow, and then you can make a Drakengard 3 or 4, or I mean 3 is
Mm,
already out, so you can make a 4 or whatever the case may be. And then people will start caring about the series again, and then they might
mhm.
go back to 1, 2, and 3, and
Yeah.
then people will start connecting the dots. So I can actually see them doing that, or I can actually see them making a totally new IP, or just making a Nier a continuation of the Near franchise. It's not going to be called Near Automata 2. It's going to be called something Near something
No,
else.
it'll be something completely different. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Which
I mean,
actually would be really interesting, with where Automata ended. Well, there were tons of endings to the game, but whichever one they decide to go forward with,
I
all of
mean,
them would result in a very interesting future. So
yeah. I
I don't
mean,
know.
look. I think they can literally do the same thing they did with Drakengard and just start a new series based off one of those endings.
Yeah, pretty much. That's probably what they'll do. If they do make another Nier game, I would assume. Like, I wouldn't think. I mean, who knows? Maybe they would. Maybe they would like go backwards and do like a game before Automata and like explore the timeline a little bit. They could do that too, I guess. But that feels that doesn't feel like Yoko Taro's vibe though.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would want to do that kind of thing. So I don't know. I mean, hopefully it's something. Hopefully this isn't just a fucking giant troll job, and it's like a real actual game. It's not like a fucking mobile game or something. Like
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
it
know.
could be a mobile game. I didn't think about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Oh, that would be miserable, miserable. So Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, it's early. It sounds like it's very early in early stages, so we're not going to hear about this for a while, but certainly notable. All right, Montreal. I had mentioned another cancellation we were going to talk about, and Ubisoft has canceled the Division Heartland. And this was going to be a free to play Division game. I mean, obviously, we know what the Division is. It's a looter shooter,
Yeah.
live service style game, and obviously both of us have played the first two, to different levels of enjoyment. But yeah, were you excited about the Division Heartland? Were you anticipating it at all?
Yes and no. I was kind of disappointed in it. But I didn't know if it was gonna be a mobile game or just PC or whatever.
I think it was actually supposed to be some combination of that. Like, I think there was some idea to get some version of this game on mobile, maybe at some point, which certainly made it sound weird. But I mean, it's a moot point now. Game's gone, whatever it was. So
Yeah, I'm kind of upset about it because I really wanted the division to come back. I wanted to come back in a really good way. I wish they actually just turned the division to like a survivor game. I think that it works way better as a survivor shooter type game
yeah,
instead of like a looter shooter. Um,
yeah,
shooter with the story in it. Because that's kind of like what we thought it was going to be when it first got announced, and it
hmm
we didn't have the technology at the time to do it what they wanted to do with it. But I think now if the division was to come back, with all the technology, with the way how powerful the consoles are now, they can definitely have that initial vision that they had before. But because I always have a soft spot for the division. I think the division is actually like really cool. I think the concept is really cool. Um, but yeah, I don't think they have faith in the franchise
they
anymore.
bungled it, man.
Yeah.
It sucks because I personally think that the mechanically as like a third person shooter, it's one of the
It's so
it's
dope,
so
man.
good, dude. Like,
Yeah.
fuck, it plays so fucking well, man. Like it kind of annoys me. Almost part of me almost feels like I wish they would just take the looter shooter aspects out of the game and make like kind of a single player version of that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because yeah, man, holy shit, those like mechanically the division is fucking excellent, but um, yeah, I don't know. It just they really bungled the division too. Like they really bungled it, like because the division one was um it was really good. It just didn't feel fully like fleshed out,
Yeah.
which is kind of why that game fell off. But when the division 2 came out, it just turned like they just made it so boring, like they like neutered the dark zone, if you
Which
remember
was the
that,
best
right?
zone. Like,
Yeah, that was
so
the best
that's
part of the game
that's
division
what like
1,
really kills me about the dark zone. They almost, you know what they did? They Blizzard their own game.
Yeah,
Um, so the dark zone is what Escape from Tarkov is. Like that's literally what Escape from Tarkov is the dark zone. Like you'll go into a zone, have some
yeah.
NPCs, and you have other players trying to get all this loot and then extract out. That's the first game I played that actually had a mode like that.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
I
right.
didn't. And I mean, everyone was like, oh well, Escape from Tarkov did it, and it's like in my opinion, I think the Division did it first with the Dark Zone because you had all of Central Park was your playground.
It was so fun.
It was so fun, and they neutered the fuck out of it in the Division 2 by having it separate, like these little small ass. They just pretty much turned it into like deathmatch, and it
Yeah,
was
it was
not.
dude, it was 4 people max in an instance of the zone, which
Yeah,
was horrible. Like,
yeah,
because I think it was up to 16, I want to say, in the original game,
yeah,
which isn't a ton, but it's enough to flesh it out to the point where it's interesting.
yeah,
Um, so I don't know. It's just like I don't know, they really bungled it, man. Because I think the other part of the division that's really interesting too is like just the world, like the lore of the world. They didn't do a whole lot with it in Division 2. They kind of teased some interesting ideas, but didn't really. They just didn't. Just none of it came together in a way that was interesting in that game,
yeah.
and it sucks. And then there was like the issues with scaling at the end of the game where they were just like the difficulty, the like higher difficulty end game was like really boring and grindy. You
Yeah,
know, if you
exactly.
remember that, like it just
That's why I
it's
said they should have just really leaned into like the which I don't think they knew at the time, but this is like why you should be a game, or this is why game developers need to have some kind of foresight, because they could have really leaned into the Dark Zone shit and made it. They can still do it to this day. Right now, they can make a really good extraction shooter out of the Division,
mhm,
because it was one of the originals to do that.
yeah.
Um, um, but I don't think they will. I don't. Or they can turn into a survival, a survival shooter game, multiplayer survival shooter game, or like you said, make a fucking single player game out of it. Because like I don't know, I feel like the mechanics are just they're gonna disappear and they're gonna be wasted.
It's a
And
shame. That would be a shame.
yeah, like it's a really good game. Um, but also like Ubisoft does this thing where they have like a really good, like the Division was really was okay on launch, but then once you like a month or 2 months into it, it was like really good.
Mhm,
And especially when, like when the Dark Zone was like at its peak, it was really good. Um, and then they fixed their games over time and stuff like that. But like even like Ghost Recon, like when I played Ghost Recon, um, man, that like the customization you can do in the game, all that shit. Breakpoint, for instance, in Wildlands were terrible on launch, but like now we go back and play it, it's like a completely different game. Um,
mm.
and it's like, why can't we just get that on launch?
Oh
Like I
yeah,
don't,
right.
I don't understand. Um, so maybe it is a good thing they canceled the game or whatever. But having it as a free to play would have been bad. So I understand that. Just make the Division 3 though. Like just lean into, like, because they have all the mechanics. Like you can drink soda in the game to like restore certain health and everything like that. Just retune the game to where you can make it like the ultimate fucking tactical fucking survival shooter or DMZ type mode shooter, whatever the case may be. And I think people will love it. Like, and then you already have like the little skills and stuff there. I don't know. I just feel like it's a lot of wasted potential that they're not exploring. And that's been
Mm,
my one biggest criticism with fucking Ubisoft. Like, they just lack vision. I don't know what I don't
yeah.
know. I don't want to say creativity, but it's just like they just really lack vision. And you can see it like in a lot of their games that they're just creatively stunted, in my opinion,
Mhm,
um,
yeah.
and everything. So I don't know.
Yeah, that sucks. I mean, dude, all these cancellations and layoffs and studio closures, it just feels the industry is just like in it's going through it right now, man. Like goddamn, like how much did they overextend, you know?
Well,
Um
I really think it's just like you said, like we always say, like the inflated budgets and the over reliance on microtransactions. I think the industry
mhm,
has been getting away with it for even before COVID. They've been getting away with it for a while,
mhm,
and all of it's starting to blow back now because a lot of these people that were buying the microtransactions, they're adults now and everything. Like, 10 years, that's a long time. If you're 15, now you're 25, you're out in the
mhm,
real world, you just graduated college. You're like, man, I gotta pay rent, I gotta buy groceries. I don't have time to, you know, buy skins on Fortnite like I used to anymore, wherever the case may be. I don't
mhm,
have the capital to do that. So
yeah,
I think a lot of they're losing a lot of those players now, so, and a lot of that capital. So
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the other problem is just I mean, as much as those games like this, it's just those games suck up. There's just too many of these games that are sucking up people's lives too.
mhm.
You know, at the same time, it's like all the most played games are the same games they've been for the last like 5 years. You know, and it's like that takes away from people's ability to want to play or buy these single player games, and the industry's kind of done this to itself. You know, is their constant churn and desire to make money has led them to creating these games that just end up hurting the industry at large. You know,
Yep.
it's like, and it kind of sucks. It sucks because it does make me wonder. Like, I mean, we were talking about this, I don't know, a couple months ago now, but it's like, it does make me wonder what the what the future looks like long term for games. Um, do AAA games, AAA single player games, like I don't want to, like, not to be doom and gloom, but it's like, like how much of a future do they have in the volume that we're getting them right now? It's like I could just see a reality where we get, well, a lot less of these.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are starting to turn to just indie games.
Mhm.
We're starting to be a lot more patient for indie games. Like, and the indie games themselves are like people who are just like us. They're like, I'm not getting the game I want, so I'm gonna make the game I want. And they
Yep.
make it. And a lot of people were like respect them for that, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, oh, you guys are just doing the same thing. Like, we just make another Mega Man Battle Network with like improvements and stuff. Yeah, they are, because we wanted that before. Like,
Yeah.
like these people want those type of games. And I'm I'm not spending the arm and a leg. The budget, it's probably only like 100 grand or something crazy like that, because it's one guy or one girl, and I'm probably gonna play it on Steam for like 20 to 30 bucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
like a win-win for everybody. And then if the game is really good, that person makes all their money back and then some, and then they get a reputation. So it's like, instead of like taking a huge risk, like, Immortals of Avium, where it's a 10-hour, 15, which is not a bad thing, but $125 million on a game, a new IP that no one,
Forspoken.
yeah, or Forspoken or something like that. So it's like, I, I don't know, like, it's just, it's just one of those things where it's just like, I think all industries right now are just like taking it, because we're going through this with the movie industry. We're like, the movie industry is doing a soft reset where people are actually just watching regular movies and are excited for like non-Marvel, non-Disney movies now,
Hmm. Yeah.
and I feel like the game industry right now is actually going through its own reset. Um Executives and everybody else are trying to keep it up, but I think not just the players, but I think the developers are just tired, man. They're just like, whatever, man. We'll just make our own studio, and whatever the case may be, wherever we go from there, we go from there. Um But I think a lot of some of the developers that do try that, they end up getting in this weird position where they're stuck in their old ways, and they
Mm.
end up like, fucking up because they are stuck in their old ways, and they don't want to,
Hmm.
adjust to the climate and shit like that. So,
Yep.
and players too alike. So it sucks, but I mean, we have to go through this, unfortunately.
Yep. Fair enough. All right, Montreal. Let's move on. More Ubisoft stuff. So, along with the cancellation of Heartland, they announced a new Assassin's Creed coming this year. Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's happening, guys. We're finally getting the Japan game that we've always wanted. Yay! It's going to take place in 1579. There's going to be two protagonists. One is the African samurai. What was his name? Yasuke. No, forgetting his actual name. But he's like a real. He's a real person that served as under Oda Nobunaga um, in the 1500s. And then there will be a ninja character as well that you will play as in the game. Um, so there'll be the dual protagonist, which they've done. They've done that before in the series.
Yeah, they
And
did it in
so,
Odyssey. So,
Montreal, what do you think?
um, this kind of relates to where I was talking about with Ubisoft before. I think they're creatively stunted.
Hmm.
Um, they try to do some cool stuff with Mirage. I don't think it landed well. Um, like I said, I think it was a little bit too late.
Hmm.
And this is another case of like a little bit too late. All the ideas that they have now, people wanted back in the day, but they just wouldn't do it. I actually exclusively remember reading an article where they said it was too obvious or too cliche to go to Japan, and they wanted to explore other cultures and stuff like that. So, but the other cultures they explored were also already well known. Like, we already knew about Vikings, we already knew about Egyptian culture, we already knew about. I do actually think the Revolutionary period, that was pretty fucking cool. that was the one period that they covered in
Mm,
Assassin's Creed. That was really
mhm.
cool.
Yep.
Um, both Assassin's Creed 3 and both the mobile, not the mobile games, but the PSP games. One took place during the slavery time, like 1776, right when we were breaking off from the British. There was two of them, and then obviously like Black Flag that took place in the Caribbean. I thought that was really good too. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know. They just lack vision, man. And this, to me, this is another sign of just lacking vision. Like, oh, we this is our bread. Like, this is like their nuclear option, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I
this was
think
their
they
break glass, dude, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Like I think that's why they held on to it for so long because they knew people were going to eat it up, and a lot of people were eating it up. A lot of people were excited for this, and more power to them. But like, if the game looks okay, I might give it a shot. But it's just like I can go play Ghost of Tsushima, bro. Like,
Yeah.
sorry,
It's too little too late, man.
yeah,
Yeah, no, the better like no, like, do you have any faith that this game's gonna be better than Ghost of Tsushima?
no, none
Because I
whatsoever.
don't. And
Uh,
frankly, Ghost of Tsushima 2, like we were just talking about that, might get announced next week and it might be coming out this year for all we know.
and that
You
will
know?
blow all the steam out of the fucking
And
water
bye
for them.
bye Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
that happens. Like, yeah, see you later.
So Um, this was their nuclear option. But on the other hand, so Ubisoft is known for doing this, right? Because they are the people that made. Is Ubisoft the people that made? Who makes Saints Row? Ubisoft, right? That's not Ubisoft.
No, that is well, it was when it ended up with Embracer,
Okay.
but I don't think it
So
was.
I did notice this trend. Oh, it was Volition Games that they did that. Um,
Yeah.
but I did notice this trend, which I want to talk about, or not talk about, because I mean we've been on here for a while. But it's like me being like a black gamer, I notice a lot of trends or whatever that may not be known to like other cultures. Like I feel like Asians are like heavily represented, in white people are heavily represented and stuff like that. Ooh, excuse me. But anyway, I noticed this trend to where we're gonna try to bring a franchise out of dormant, or the franchise is dying. Now let's give them a character of color or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And then like the character of color ends up being the reason to a lot of people's eyes that the franchise failed. And it's like, no. So like they take the blunt, like that takes the blunt of it. And then it ends up being like a black gamer thing. It's like, well, you guys are ruining our games. Look how terrible this Saints Row game was. And it's like, just because the main characters were like black and Latino and all that stuff like that, that's why the game was bad. Not because the game was creatively stunted or just bad. Like it was because the characters were black or quote unquote woke or diverse. Um,
Mhm.
and I feel like they're doing this with this game too. Not only are they doing the nuclear option, they're breaking the glass by making it in Japan and making it an actual assassins ninja type game. But they also have the Black Samurai in there as well. So it's like all it's also another fallback they can fall on if the game kind of fails. Um, People aren't going to really blame the game. They're going to blame the diversity check, quote unquote, the wokeness of the game. And
Mm.
that's going to be the main focal point of why the game failed. And it's also two parts to this. Um, so that being said, as well, actually, I'll start there. So, how do you feel about that? Or do you notice that trend, or am I just totally fucking tripping? Like,
Um no, not necessarily. I mean, um I do find it interesting that they made this choice because they could have done a samurai game in a lot of eras in Japanese history, you know.
yeah,
And they specifically chose this one, which I find interesting. It's like it doesn't feel like a coincidence necessarily. This samurai's name was Yasuke. It was just Yasuke, by the way. He doesn't like
yeah.
have a last name. I didn't know that. So just to clarify that. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm trying to think of like specific examples. Um
Well, like I can think of some like Mafia 3, obviously.
oh, true. That's a good one. That fucking floundered hard. Jesus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mafia 3.
That wasn't a good game. Like, to your point.
But people are
Yeah.
still blaming that it was quote unquote woke because the character was half black.
Yeah.
Um,
Which it's a fucking it's not. Yeah. I don't know. It's just a bad. It's like a bad. It's just a bad argument. You know. It's like
yeah,
it's
it's a
not. It's not a
surface level
cause. It's not a
argument.
cause and effect thing. Like the character being black didn't make the game bad. You know. That's a complete ridiculous logic string to make. You know.
Well, I mean, like, so for instance, right? I'll even take it away from like color, and I'll just say other stuff, other diverse or other minorities, like for women,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Star Wars, for instance, right? People don't hate. I hate the sequel trilogy because of the writing, right?
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people out there who there is a vocal minority, I call it, because they're super vocal, who can't really articulate why they don't like it, and they just blame it on Ray. Oh, obviously because we had a fucking female, fucking woke, you know, Jedi, and it's like, what? That's not it. I thought Ray was a cool character. I thought she was cool. They just written her bad. She was wrote really bad, or she was written really, really bad, terrible. Oh, they have all these female generals, and it's like, what are y'all talking about? That's not the
Yeah.
reason why Star Wars, the sequel trilogy was bad. It was bad because it was not thought out. It was written terribly, and they just didn't give a fuck, and they still got a lot of money off of it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about. Where like I noticed those type of trends were like, I don't know, even the way, like, I'll even say this, right? And this may not I know you will fight me on this one. I know you'll fight me on Magic, for instance, right? Or they turn some of the characters black, and everyone's complaining about that. And it's like, is it? I don't know. You guys were complaining about that, but it's just like, it's because Wizards of the Coast they're
Mm.
creatively stunted, and then they just
Well.
that was their
Okay.
nuclear option. Let's make some black characters because holy shit, we don't know
Yeah.
what else we're doing. And
No. Let me. So that's a good one to bring up because I had really mixed feelings about that whole thing with Lord of the Rings last year, that set,
yeah,
because they made Aragorn black. I believe they made Galadriel black
hmm
in there, and they made Gandalf black on certain cards, and he was white on other cards, which was an
that's interesting.
interesting divergence. And I personally didn't love it, and I was trying to reconcile like why I felt that way, because it's like I don't necessarily have an issue with this concept of like black characters in Lord of the Rings. We talked about this with Rings of Power way back
Yeah,
with the black elf in that show, and I didn't care about it there, right? Like it didn't bother me at all. And I think in the case of the Lord of the Rings stuff, it felt more. It's not about that specifically. It's more the way it's done. It feels specifically shoehorned in
hmm
to elicit a certain type of reaction. It's not. They're not doing it. They're not doing it out of some kind of altruism or any other reason. They're like, it feels almost more performative. You
yes,
know,
yeah.
that's ultimately where I came down on it. I don't have a problem with Aragorn being black in a vacuum, but it's like I don't think they did that out of some true moral stance. Really, I just
So
yeah,
I will say
it
that's
felt
how.
inserted. You know,
Yeah, and I will say, and I mean, I can be speaking for myself, but from and this is anecdotal, but from like some of the black gamers that I talk to and everything, we feel like that as well, to where we feel like, yeah, we want black characters, but we don't want performative black characters, or like,
yeah, right.
to fit some kind of thing, or a tokenism or whatever. We just want, like, you can create a game and then just have a black character in it, and that would be cool, or whatever the case may be.
So do you feel
Uh,
like this one's under the radar, that it is
yes,
performative, but no one views it that
yes,
way? Yeah,
yes.
and
A lot of people have been pointing that out.
it's
They feel
sly.
like
Yeah,
They
Yeah.
a lot of black
It's
people having a point.
convenient, to my point earlier. It's
Yeah,
very convenient that they chose this
exactly.
exact period, right?
We
Yeah.
all know that Assassin's Creed is on the fucking downside right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what can we do? Okay, we can knock out two birds with one stone. We can get the black gamers on our or the black and people of color gamers on our side, and we can get the Japanese weeb gamers because everybody always wanted a fucking Assassin's Creed in Japan. So we're knocking out two birds with one stone. Like,
Mhm.
and then people were like, well, Montrell, Neo 2 had Yusuke in it. And it's like, yeah, but it wasn't shoehorned in.
That was
Like,
I was gonna bring that up because
yeah,
it was cool
yeah,
actually.
it
It
was
was like
cool.
it was like, oh, that's right. This is fucking awesome. Like you get to
And they
fight the
didn't
dude
make that the
too.
focal point of their game.
No,
Nowhere in their advertisement they show Yusuke. When I saw Yusuke, I was like, holy fucking shit, he's
it
in
was
this game.
organic. It was
It
an
was
organic, real moment.
exactly,
Yeah, right.
exactly. And that's what we want. We want more organic black characters. We don't want shoehorned in stuff. And now they didn't maybe this was their plan all along. It wasn't. But maybe it was their plan all along, right? The second part of this is I see people saying, "Well, it's not historically accurate. Why are there black people in Japan anyway at this time? That samurai didn't exist." And it's like, first of all, he did. Second off, why are you so upset about it? Why is there uh this theme to protect
Yeah,
or gatekeep like Japanese culture? Like, you're white, bro. Like, and these are white. These are not Asian gamers saying this. These are
yeah.
white people saying it, or maybe even some black people saying it too as well. Or like, and it's like, why are you
Well,
so
also,
protective of a
okay.
culture that's not yours? It's just
Well,
weird to me.
to the point about the historical accuracy thing though, like remember when Kingdom Come Deliverance came out and that game got shit for having no like no people of color in the game?
Yeah,
That game was actually going for historical accuracy though, and that was like that's not a thing that was true in 1500 Bohemia. Whereas Assassin's Creed does not care about historical accuracy at all. That's the point of the fucking franchise. So what are we talking about? You know, it's like
and that's why I say it's okay to use that
yeah,
in like Kingdom Deliverance, right? Or Kingdom
yeah,
Come Deliverance. I feel like that's a plausible excuse to
hmm
compare to like Assassin's Creed, 1500s Japan, where we did have. It's just, first of all, it's just one black character. It's not like we're gonna see a whole bunch of black people
but
in
the thing is, you're playing as them, right? And
yeah,
I
you're
just
playing
realized the Japanese character you're playing as is a female character.
exactly.
Yeah,
So like I
that's
said,
funny
it's very interesting and
because they
very
could have made Yasuke like an NPC, you know, that you do
exactly.
stuff with maybe or you interact with a lot in the game. They could have done, but they know you're playing as him. You know.
So it's you're getting hit from both sides because I think both sides are calling your shit, but for totally different reasons, right? So you got
hmm
like the gamers. I would just say racist gamers. I don't know the skin color of these people, so I'll just say racist gamers in general who are like, why are you playing as a black character? This is not historically accurate. He wasn't doing this. He was just a retainer of whatever the case. And retainers were samurai. They can get appointed to be samurai actually, but it's
hmm
like, okay, cool, whatever. Da Vinci didn't make the fucking Assassin's Creed blade that you use, you dumb fucks. In Ezio, like in Brotherhood, like
yeah,
like
yeah,
I, he didn't make a fucking helicopter. Back in the
yeah.
day, he had like written plans and stuff like that. But like the gliders that you get in Assassin's Creed, like he didn't make that shit. Like there's so many Assassin's Creed. The Knights of Templar weren't finding a secret order of assassins and looking for the apple of Edom or whatever the fuck it was called. I forgot the thing that was called. Or whatever the case may be. So it's like, what are you talking about? Like the game is always played with this, and that's the whole point of the game. Like we're playing on historical figures, but it's not going to be historically accurate. I don't understand why this is coming up now in an Assassin's Creed game. Like,
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure there weren't assassin fucking Vikings back in the day jumping off of fucking buildings and all that shit like that. Like, or maybe they were. I don't fucking know. But like, it doesn't matter because I was just like, it's an Assassin's Creed game. They're playing with they're playing with the history or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
Assassin's Creed Origins, you literally fight Anubis. bro, Anubis is a god. Like
Yeah.
who we don't know. Like I'm not going to try to offend anybody, but you know, it's a mythological figure. So I don't think that person's like real. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't
Yeah.
know. So to hit it from that angle is kind of weird to me. But it always happens when they see a black character on the screen. Then all that now everybody wants to shout, "Oh, this is inaccurate." Like for instance, like we already talked about before, uh, Lord of the Rings middle. I don't correct me if I'm wrong on my Lord of the Rings lore.
Mhm.
Middle Earth is a made up world, correct?
Yeah. It's
Okay,
supposedly based on medieval Europe,
but
but
it's not medieval Europe in the
no,
grand scheme of things.
definitely not.
It's a
No.
made up world. Okay, why can't there be a black a black elf in there? You see what I'm saying? Like I can
Right.
understand like if you're saying like okay, this is in 1100 England or whatever the fuck, and you're like, all right, bro. Like, yeah, there were no black people in in England around that time at all.
Yeah.
It's totally white, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
But like, if you're saying, oh, this is based off England around that time, and this is
That
a
is the
totally,
argument people make, though.
I think that's a dumb
But the
argument.
thing is, there are black characters in Lord of the Rings. They just exist in like there's like a desert region like south of Mordor, I think,
Hmm.
which is where they are. And the idea that they wouldn't intermingle with races from Middle Earth proper is completely just seems completely absurd to me, you know? Like that no one would ever come to Middle Earth from that area of the world. Like it's just like completely segregated. Come on, you know? It's just it's a little silly of an argument to me
Yeah,
in that one. So,
and then I don't know, like I think one or two black characters, like even in the historical accuracy, people were traveling around that time. They did pick up a slave or yeah,
mhm,
whether it be a slave or a captured person or something of that nature, or somebody of wealth from one of the African
right.
kingdoms. They could have like traveled because they have a whole bunch of money because that was a thing back then. Like there were people of royalty in Africa traveling with some of the Portuguese and some of the French and stuff like that because either they were handing off their prisoners of war to them as slaves because that was an actual currency in Africa, or and it wasn't used in the same form that
Mhm.
it was supposed to be used. They didn't think it was going to be used in that same form, but like that was a thing. So that's how actually Yusuke got over there. I think he got over there from a Portuguese ship, and either it crashed or he escaped somehow. And
Yeah.
then like yeah, Nobu um the Nobunaga clan. I know Nobunaga's his first name, but or maybe it was his second last name. I don't
No,
know.
that's his
That's his
clan
clan
name.
name, right? Is always his
Yeah.
first name. Okay, yeah, the
Oda
Nobunaga clan.
Nobunaga is his full name.
Yeah, Oda Nobunaga. That clan found him, and you know, whatever, and then history kind of wrote itself there, or whatever the case may be. So it's like that. Those certain one-off instances can happen, and I don't know. Um, I mean, even if you play like Rise of the Ronin, right? I thought it was really cool how they're like, oh yeah, I thought that interesting. That time period was super interesting too, because they're like, oh, I'm trying to go to the West to see how that works out. And I'm pretty sure there are only like one or two Japanese people in fucking America at that time, like looking at
Yeah.
studying and traveling and stuff like that. So it's like
Mhm.
these can be these one-offs and stuff like that that happen. And I think that's totally okay in the video game. I just don't like the idea. I and then you have this argument, and then people are like, well, well, Montrell, what if they had an African game and they had white people in there? Okay, I don't give a fuck. As long as it's like majority of the characters are black, I don't give a fuck if there's like two or three white people in the game or a couple of white people here and there. Like whatever, like it's okay. Like the reverse thing doesn't work for
Well,
me
also,
personally.
I don't. I also there is a degree of this that's just silly. Like if somebody wants to make a historically inaccurate game, okay, like why is that such a big deal? If they're not going for historical accuracy, then what the fuck does it matter? You know?
I just don't like when people become scholars when certain things come up. Like
Yeah.
it really
Yeah.
it really grinds, like Peter says, grinds my gears.
Grand's
Like,
my gears.
yeah, really.
Yeah. But no, dude, it's there is a degree, like, let's say they did make a game that's like historically inaccurate and they just inserted like a bunch of races of people that don't make sense where
Yes,
they are. That would
that's
be that would be
yeah,
crossing the line of like performative, right? That we're
yeah,
talking about.
and
But
I
it's
agree
like
with
case
that.
by case though.
It's
It's like
case by case.
it's
I
always going to
think
be case
people.
by case.
I don't think, and that's the problem I have with this argument all around, or this debate or topic in general. I think it's so nuanced that people just look at it surface level, and they either say it's performative, it's not performative, or whatever the case may be. And people don't really want to have a deep discussion on it because I feel like there will be some things that will be hard to discuss. Like we said, it's case by case. We talked about it just here and now, and some things I may disagree with, and then some things you may disagree with. But it is a very nuanced discussion, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like for me personally, when I was playing Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood, and I was playing Ezio, I didn't need to see a fucking black person in Italy around that time because I knew there wasn't a black person. Plus, I was just cool as playing as Ezio, like so whatever the fuck. I didn't care about that, but I understand some people they do care a lot about representation, but I think the representation needs to matter where it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like if I was playing Mass Effect and I seen not one black person, and I'm like, bro, okay, okay, where's all the black people at? Like that would be weird. Like that's a
Yeah.
weird thing to do or whatever. But like, yeah, if I'm playing in fucking Kingdom Deliverance or Deliverance, is it Kingdom Come or
Kingdom Come Deliverance. Yeah.
Kingdom Come Deliverance, I'm not really expecting to see black people there. I'll even go a step further and say, when I'm playing The Witcher, I wasn't really expecting to see black people in The Witcher. I kind of knew what I was jumping into. And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm not going to see,
Yeah.
black
It's
people.
it's a world made by a fucking Polish guy, dude. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, another one that's like based on medieval Europe. And, the black characters in The Witcher are the fucking turban wearing people from the desert region. It's just like, it's a little, yeah.
Even
I
in
don't know.
Elder Scrolls is like that, right? It's like the Red Guards.
We've talked about that before, how racist fantasy is. Like, it's a little much.
Yeah, all the Asian people are
They're always wearing turbans, the black people, like,
the
always.
black people are always wearing turbans. The Asian people are always from the East.
Yep.
Uh,
Oh man.
yeah, and like the Nordic people, like there are two types of Nordic people. They're like
Yeah.
the which I think if I was white I'd be offended too, right? Like they're like the sophisticated English type, white people,
Yeah.
and they're like the barbaric fucking
The orange hair, braided hair with the face paint, the blue face paint and all. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Dude, Skellige in The Witcher 3 is literally just that. The whole fucking nation is that. It's funny. It's so fucking funny, dude.
and I don't know, like like I said, I'm not white, but wouldn't some like people from that type of area be like, yo, like not
Yeah.
all of our people who
We don't all talk like this.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, if I was like playing Star Trek or something, right, and I just seen nothing but white people, I'm like, all right, bro, this is kind of weird. Like we're in the future, like
Mhm.
and no black people survive, or it's all white people. That's it. Like that's weird to me, right? So like it will be certain instances of that. But yeah, like I don't know.
Mhm.
It is a case by case basis. I don't need black people in everything. That's just me personally, though. I know a lot of other black people, especially like the younger generation, they feel way differently about it because a lot of them had different upbringings than like
Mhm.
people like me. I didn't really get into fantasy until like maybe college and stuff like that, where
Mhm.
they had the upbringing, and it was I would say safe for them to get into that type of stuff. Because like back in school when I was younger, like that shit was like either you'll be labeled as a nerd or gay. Like why are you playing that gay shit, or why are you playing that, like
Mhm.
stuff like that. So and on top of that was like a huge religious aspect to it as well. But now I feel like kids growing up now, especially kids of color, they're exposed to a lot more stuff. just because the neighborhoods are a lot more diverse and everything like that. So they are playing Dungeons and Dragons at like 8 years old or something like that. So in their mindset, like, why can't there be a fucking black person in like this
Mhm.
part of Europe or whatever the case may be? Because they're younger and they grew up that way. And I think a lot of people, like a lot of older millennials, don't really recognize that because we tried to fight for that, but we didn't
Mhm.
grow up with that. And now that
Yeah.
we actually have it, is jarring when it
It is,
actually
yeah. I can
presents
see that,
itself.
yeah.
You see,
I think it's
so
something we need to accept, though, is that I think the reality going forward is that there's gonna be diversity in everything, even if it doesn't make sense, you know?
yeah,
Like,
and I
that's
pretty much chalk my hat up to that, like what you
yeah,
said. Yeah,
yeah.
like
I
there's
I
going to
will
be
say, though, like, the last thing I wanna say on this too is, like, people have gotta stop doing this. Every time a game has a black protagonist, it's just like there's like a controversy. It's like, dude, like, guys, y'all need to look in a mirror real quick. Like, realize what you're doing. Like, it's like you're getting all mad because the black guy is the main protagonist in the Japanese fucking Assassin's Creed game. And it's like,
you,
maybe you're going a little too hard about it.
you know what? I
It's
can't
like,
wait. I can't wait
yeah,
for Atlas to come out with a persona and the protagonist is black. Oh my god,
or could be black.
or could be black. Oh, they're like half Japanese, half black. People will lose their fucking shit. Oh, Persona's dead. Ah!
Has there been a female protagonist in Persona? I don't think so.
I think actually, I think
Or can you
three.
choose in three? Are
I
you
think
able
three.
to?
Yeah, I think three has a
You're
female
able to do male
protagonist.
or female?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because that would be the other break point that would break people's brains.
Playing as a woman, it was
Yeah.
just half the population of humans.
Yes. I don't. I dude. I mean, it's happened before, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess you're right. I think that's, you know what? I'm gonna go off a limb here. I think that's why a lot of people hate Lightning. I think she's the only female
Yeah,
protagonist.
dude. Horizon too. Same thing with Aloy.
Yeah. Oh, because she's not quote
She's
unquote hot.
she's ugly.
Yeah, I think she's hot, but like whatever. That's just me personally.
I think
But
she's an average. I think she's average.
yeah,
Like,
she's
and
average.
that's like, but
We're average.
that's
Like
not
I
a
mean,
bad thing, right? Like, I would call her pretty, right?
yeah,
Like
exactly,
I'm just
exactly.
saying she's not like a fucking supermodel.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember that image of the doctored up image of her with makeup on? That was amazing.
I
That's one of
can't
the
believe
funniest.
I
That's one
can't
of the
believe someone did
funniest
that. I
things,
can't
dude.
believe
I
somebody
can't
did it.
believe it either. People are so deranged. They're so broken inside. Like, what are
But
we
like
doing,
that's what I'm
man?
saying. Like we get it's so extreme, bro. It's so dumb. Like because we just had this with Stellar Blade. Oh, she's too
Yeah.
pretty, and it's like, and then we had people like writing petitions to make her even more prettier.
Yeah, but
Or
Montrell, there's a fucking yeah, exactly. The petition, like, bro, like some of the outfits in the game, like, dude, the bunny outfit that you were talking about, dude. If you
exactly,
look at it, they're fucking full on 100% side boob, dude. Like, uncensored. Like, it's just there for you if you want it, dude. Like, you want it to be more revealing than that. I don't understand what you're even arguing for. At a certain point, like, you just sound like
the skin
fucking
suit, bro.
perverts. Like,
The
yeah,
skin suit is
literally.
crazy. The,
Yeah, you can just make her naked. Like, I don't. What are we talking? That's what I don't understand. It's like with that one, it's like you guys are just like perverts. Like, I don't get. I don't. What are you even mad about?
but that's what I'm saying with video games in general. Like
Oh, gamers got to calm down.
yeah, it's just so fucking
Not
crazy, man.
everything's a controversy.
Like at the I don't know, man. Like, God forbid they come out with a Devil May Cry and the fucking characters like black or Latino or something like that or whatever the case may
Or they
be,
make Dante black
or they make Dante black. I don't think that will ever happen. But
with
they
the
come
white
out
hair. They keep
they
the white hair.
yeah, but they come out with like because sometimes you play as a different protagonist or whatever. So the protagonist you play as, is black
Yeah.
or it's a woman and like she has some
Oh,
of Dante's moves and people are like that's not Dante and it's like bro okay chill out like
mhm.
like I don't know. We did it before though, right? Remember Resident Evil 5 came out? Oh,
Yeah.
it was like it wasn't even Justin. It wasn't even black people complaining. It was white people complaining. "Oh, this is racist.
Yeah,
This
you're
should be a
killing.
white man shooting."
You're murdering hordes of black people in the game that takes place in Africa. Okay, I mean, okay,
and,
like,
and we were just like, I was just like, I can see where you
yeah,
go with this, but I really don't
yeah,
fucking care. I
yeah.
mean, no, to be honest with you, I thought that once the game came out, I played it. It was an okay game. Um,
But dude, isn't the person that's with you for the whole game
yeah, she's
a black
black.
character?
Yeah, you can swap
Like,
characters too. So
yeah,
so it was just funny though,
it's
right?
not like it
Because
was that careless.
I
Like,
have a demented mind though,
it
so
wasn't like
I'm
Jill and Leon running around Africa murdering.
no, it wasn't. But the
It's
funny
like,
thing is, you played on PC, you can mod it with the clan suit.
oh no. They, did they do one where they put the robe? They put the robe on. Oh no! Oh no!
That's so funny to me. I'm sorry. It was so funny to me. And that's probably not funny,
Oh,
but
no.
it's so funny because sometimes racism would just be so fucking ridiculous. It's hilarious.
Can you imagine being the person who programmed that, dude? Like, oh my god!
It was so funny when I saw it. My mom was so pissed when she saw it too. I was like, "Mom, it's just so... that was my grandma. She was pissed. I was crying laughing though.
Oh no! I can imagine.
Oh, I was crying laughing. Me and my mom were like crying laughing when we saw it on YouTube. I was like, "Yo, look at this!" It was so funny. And the YouTube video is deleted though. It was like, it was like, get off my property.
Oh no!
It was so funny. I couldn't stop laughing. But yeah, like I don't know, shit like that is just fucking funny to me though. But
Yeah,
that's because my family's fucking weird. Like we laugh at shit like that all the time.
I mean,
To
bro,
kind of
Chappelle's whole career is off that kind of comedy, dude.
yeah,
Like,
we grew up off that. And I was
right.
also have you ever seen a movie called Rush Hour with Chris Tucker and Jackie
Dude,
Chan?
are you kidding me? It's like what, dude? Rush Hour 1 and Rush Hour 2 are fucking two of the best movies I've ever seen. Like,
That movie cannot survive this climate today.
No, absolutely not, dude. You remember Rush Hour 3? It came out like in a pseudo version of this climate. You know, it's like it's just not the same. That movie is those movies are so racist. It's insane. Like, but they're funny as fuck. Like,
funny as fuck. Like one of some of the funniest movies I ever watched. If I go back and watch it to this day, I would still laugh my ass off, man.
What was that? It's Chris Tucker, right?
Yeah, Chris Tucker.
Yeah. And he's like, Lee, come on, Lee, come on. You know, it's just fucking insane shit he's saying, dude. Like, oh my god, dude.
When you stop that one dude who's like, I found your sweet and sour chicken ass.
Oh my god.
Like this shit's so stupid to me.
Oh man. Or then he's like, I forget what that Jackie Chan said, but he was like, nobody understand the words coming out of your mouth. Like,
it was just racism on both sides, and it was fucking hilarious. But we can't get shit like that anymore because people are too sensitive.
oh man, it would never happen. Nobody would make that movie. Yeah,
I think we need movies like that back, man. We need it, man. Oh my god,
it's like, you know, you're poking fun at at a serious topic, but it's like you need that levity to kind of like break that pressure. Like we don't, like you said, we don't have that anymore. So nothing's like kind of popping the bubble to let some air out of it, you know. So it's just this constant fucking like twisting. That's like the tightness of these discussions is just constantly getting turned and turned tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter, and then eventually it's released in this explosion of just like people like wanting to murder each other. Basically, it's like we don't take the time to like have fun with it anymore. You know, it's like we're not allowed to have fun with it anymore. It's like that's not in vogue. You know,
exactly. So I don't know, man. Like when this, even though like he's an actual historical figure, somehow it still came up that well, he wouldn't actually be doing this or an actual
Mhm.
samurai, and I'm like, all right, man, listen, just yeah, because Tom Cruise going on the Last Samurai fighting a horde of fucking samurai, that happened, bro.
Mhm.
That's historically accurate. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I actually like that movie too. I'm like watch the Last Samurai.
Right. But
But
yeah,
it's so crazy. The concept is so
it's
stupid.
it's
Like,
ridiculous. Yeah.
but
But
I don't
nobody has a
know.
problem with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nobody has a problem with it. But like, it is what
But
it
that's to the
is.
point. Like it's just like black character, people are mad. Like that's the line that happens nowadays. It's just it's gotten
Because people feel like it's a diversity check or something like that. People feel like it's not authentic, which I actually do agree. Majority of the time, like this is a very special case where like actually kind of both sides are wrong and right. Because I
it's
feel like,
convenient. Ubisoft
yeah,
found the perfect
exactly,
solution. Yeah.
exactly. Um,
Right.
but like, yeah, if I don't know. It's certain games where it's just like it is a bit of tokenism in the game. Where it's like you are just adding that black character to add that black character, or you
Mhm.
are just adding these group of
Well,
random
yeah.
sexuality slash characters because you want to meet this quota, and it's not really a
Yeah.
part of the story or whatever the case may be. So I I I don't know.
Well,
Like for
let the
instance, we're
game come out too, though. Like we don't
exactly,
know how they're gonna handle this in the game. You know,
yeah,
it's also
exactly.
like it's actually kind of risky from that regard for Ubisoft because if they don't handle the character very well, and like I can't even think of like an specific example of what he might do, but like if it's if they're inserting too much of a certain thing with him, like it could come off as performative. So I don't know. It's like we'll see. It's like it's not even out yet. Like it's not even close to being out yet. It just got announced. Like calm down.
Well, it coming out November 15th of this year, I believe.
Right. We don't have
Yeah.
to wait very long. It's 6 months actually from the announcement. But like to the point, like this is the thing. This is like kind of modern culture is like we like to judge a book by its cover. We do that all the time. But maybe let the thing come out and then experience the thing and then maybe we can have a conversation about whether it was performative or not. It's like
Well,
we're just making a judgment. We're
that's a
making a
whole different
judgment off
thing,
of
man.
nothing.
That's a whole
Yeah.
different thing. In my opinion, that's another reason why um these explosive topics, like you said, like it churns and churns and it explodes because people get paid off the algorithm. I mean, Twitter is literally
You're right.
you get paid by engagement now. Like you can pay somebody out for that,
YouTube's the
and
same way.
YouTube's the same way. So
Right,
if
you
I
just have to have a take. Like that's the thing with YouTube when you were going back to fuck what were you talking about? I don't remember. There was a prior topic we were talking about where people were like, like fucking flipping out about something and it's like they just had to have a take, in that
oh
discussion.
the Helldivers and Sony thing.
Oh, yeah, 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 right. Yeah, exactly. And everybody had the take of we're going to side with the masses here. Like no one had the other side of the take really for the most part
Hmm.
because they knew the way to get views is to agree with the player base. It's like that's how you get views. It going the other way would have probably gotten you views too, but it would have been really risky,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like you might have gotten fucking
Well,
killed for it
well,
at the
my
same
thing is
time.
everybody just want no one. So it's like that whole diver situation is pretty unique, right? Because they did reverse, they reversed what they said, but then they reenacted it after they reversed what they say they weren't going to do. I believe, or something like that. I
Mhm.
believe it's something like that is still happening. Some variation of it is still happening, or whatever the case may be. Um, but uh, I think even if it wasn't that case, like you said, I think the main thing is like I think businesses will have to shift the way they do things, and they would never do that. But wait till the actual product comes out, because I feel like that's why Stellar Blade got all that traction, right? Because people are like, "Oh my god, the character's busty, and this is not, and she's pretty much fucking all the aliens that she come across." And it's like,
It's
it's
fighting just fucking all the tentacle monsters in
yeah,
the
she's
game. Yeah,
fucking all the tentacle
definitely.
monsters in the game, and it's
Yeah.
like That's not happening. If you want to play a game like that, I guarantee you can go to the Steam store and you can find a game like that.
Guarantee you, yes, 100%. You can find very, very many of those on
There's
Steam.
actually a well-made character action game. I forgot the name of it,
You
but
played it last
I
year, didn't
played it
you?
last
Yeah,
year, and I
I
got to a
remember.
part where I was like, oh my god!
You had to put it down at
I
some
had to
point.
put it down. It's not my type of game. But
Yeah,
it's like, and then I found out later you can.
I didn't come here for the brutal hentai sex in my character
Yeah,
action game.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I didn't come
yeah.
for that. Pun not intended.
Literally.
but but there are games like that, you know. So it's like, but people just wanted the reaction on both sides. They wanted the reaction, whatever the case may be. And
Mhm.
I don't know. I just feel like until until something breaks this system, this is what we're have to see in the foreseeable future. Unfortunately,
Mhm.
we're going to see hot takes. We're going to see unnecessary hot takes, or whatever the case may be. Like, I don't know, some idiot may say, "I think Mario is the worst platforming game ever made, and here's the reasons why." And you're like, "Shut up, bro," because we all know it's not. And I'm not even a Super Mario fan like that, and I know that's
Yeah,
bullshit. You know,
yeah.
like, but the algorithm reward stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right, Montrell. We've been going on and on.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's. We got one more thing to talk about, so I
Oh,
kind
we
of want to
do.
get to that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we'll be quick here. We'll probably revisit this conversation when that game comes out and this all starts up anew again. So we'll probably, I'm sure we'll revisit it. But last thing, so this isn't really news. I don't consider this news. This is more of a topic I wanted to talk about. However, I do have a news story about it. That's the reason it kind of came up. Was
Mm.
CEO of EA Andrew Wilson was asked about putting ads into video games and that they are already working on doing this in some way. He said, quote, "We have teams internally in the company right now looking at how do we do very thoughtful implementations inside of our game experiences," end quote. Talking about putting in-game ads into games. And I do want to preface this by saying that this already exists to a certain degree.
Yeah, I was about to say
In
that.
EA's games, especially their sports games, there is advertising in the games on the banisters, around, like, especially in, like, the EA Sports FC, formerly FIFA, on the outside of the pitch, they have the fucking branding the way they do in real life. They do the same thing in Madden. It's like, this isn't, so there's already ads in games like that. But I think this was more talking about actual advertisements that you may watch to some degree. And that's more what I wanted to get your thoughts on. Like, what do you think of this concept? Do you think this is inevitable in video games?
Um, I don't know if you remember that weird time period, but this already happened. It's so weird. I feel like we're just going in the time machine. Um, Tekken 5
Yeah.
or 4 had Church's Chicken in the background on the ads. Yeah, random as fuck, right? Church's Chicken. And I remember playing
Wait,
Tekken with my
in a
friends.
Tekken game?
Yes, I'm not joking with you, bro. I,
What is there even a Church's Chicken in Japan? Like, what the fuck?
bro, I'm Church's Chicken. I remember seeing the
They
old
must have had a
logo.
gamer high up in their executive group at the time.
Yeah, it was Tekken 6. Yeah, you can literally, when you're playing on the street, there's like these signs, and they have Tekken, they have Church's Chicken in the background. Like, I'm not crazy. I remember this.
Wow.
Um,
Weren't
and it
there
was
like
on.
ads on loading screens at some point too in a game? I know that's happened before. I feel like that's happened before.
Yeah, I mean various sports games, but you remember like I don't know. You remember it was like almost like, oh, this is the show, the world is real type deal, right? And I thought it was like really cool because for me it was really cool when you seen like these real world businesses in a video game or whatever the case may be. Because even I think even like Shinobi, like it had instant ramen or something like that when you're running across one of the
Oh
billboards.
no, it
Instant
was
ramen.
dude, Final Fantasy 15
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy
had
15 had
fucking cup noodle or whatever
cup
it
noodle.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you could do it in creative ways, which
Oh,
EA's
dude, it
probably
had the fucking Coleman, the camping gear in the game too.
you're
Wasn't
right.
the car? Wasn't the car you drove an Audi? Like I don't.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I forgot about all that shit. Yeah, the camping gear was the one that got me, dude. They just had like Coleman camping gear in Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah. So this is
Oh,
this is in 2009, bro. Tekken 6,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Someone on GameFAQs said, "What the heck is Church's Chicken?" I don't know, but I saw an ad on it in Tekken 6. Like there are
Yeah.
people who don't know who don't know what Church's Chicken is, and they
I
saw it.
didn't until I moved to Texas, so I
Really,
don't.
we have a whole
Yeah,
bunch of them
no,
in
it's
Detroit.
not. It's
So
not. It wasn't. It may be up north now, but it was not a northeastern chain at the time.
okay, that
Back
makes
when I was a
sense.
kid.
Yeah, we definitely had them in Detroit in the
Yeah,
Midwest. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I thought that was funny though. So
yeah.
when I saw that EA is doing this, people were thinking of it as a traditional like, oh, it's gonna take this ad's coming up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's like a 30-second ad or whatever. And I'm like,
Mm,
no, I don't think they're gonna do it that way. I think they're just gonna have like maybe decals in the car or something like that and burnout, or if you're
yeah,
playing like Need for Speed, you're driving by signs that may have like Wendy's or McDonald's, or you can
mhm,
pull into like a Shell gas station or something like that, something of that nature. Um, I I mean, there's like I said, there's a lot of creative ways you can do that, and like get a lot of advertising dollars for it because you're like, hey man, we got this gas station where we're pulling into. We got this gas station mechanic where you can go save or whatever,
mhm.
and
Yeah, yeah,
whatever the case may be. So
yeah. And I guess I don't have a problem with any of that stuff. It doesn't really impact the game very much. I mean, I do enjoy the fake brands that companies make up.
yeah,
It's fun sometimes, but it's like, is it like a essential thing to video games? No, not at all. And it's not like that stuff's ever really gonna go away entirely. So I don't know. I don't have a problem with the ads in that sense. I guess like if they made me watch an ad, like where they stop the game to like play me an ad,
that's where I have
that
an
would
issue with it. Yeah,
that would piss me the fuck off. But and that's the part I do think is a realistic possibility, is the idea of bringing back loading screens to
oh
show that
my
shit,
god,
you
yeah.
know? And that would be, god, that would be so fucking infuriating. But I don't know. I mean, dude, this is the thing. Everybody needs to get themselves in the right headspace here with this. Is like, dude, the industry is trying to grow. That's always the goal, is grow, grow, grow. And how are they going to do that? They're going to squeeze every single dollar out of their products that they can. And ultimately that leads you to advertising. Like that's an inevitability of some sort. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure somebody will try to play ads in their game. It
I,
probably
I
won't go
I
very
think they
well.
should just do it creatively, like
Yeah.
I mean, like
Billboards. Yeah.
exactly, like I don't know, like
Like in
for
GTA 6, right? Like, you know, there's a McDonald's you can go to and get food. It's like that
exactly,
kind of,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, like
It's like that
type of
kind of
shit.
stuff.
Like even like for Resident Evil or whatever, right? If they needed ads, you pick up ammo boxes, and then the ammo boxes can be actual gun companies that
Yeah.
you
Oh
may.
boy. The anti-gun people would be
I
so
don't understand how
upset.
they'd be anti-gun where you're playing.
No,
You're
I
right.
mean, like
No, you're
I'm
right.
saying,
You're
I'm
right.
saying
You're
they would
right.
be mad that it's included in the game.
Yeah, you're right.
Like,
You're right.
yeah,
But like you're literally shooting people with the guns. So,
yeah.
but
And
I mean,
I guess they're already mad. Because of
exactly.
that.
Yeah. So it's like, um, but like that's kind of like, in my opinion, that's why Call of Duty kind of fell off, is because they had to get away from the licensing of the actual guns they were using. So they just started
Mhm.
making random guns and random shit up, or they
Oh,
based it.
that's true, dude. Racing games. Yeah, you just reminded me. Like racing games have had this shit forever.
Yeah, it's been there. Like that's why I said I don't understand why people are freaking out
I guess
about
it's
this.
the opposite though. They've had to pay money to get the cars.
Yeah, exactly. But then you
So
can
I guess
have
it's that.
ads on like the billboards that are like on the track or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm
So
pretty sure that's been a thing before.
yeah, so I don't know. I just thought it was funny when I saw this. I instantly thought of Tekken 6. I was just like,
Yeah.
bro, they had Church's Chicken in the background. I'm playing as Kazuya fighting Hiachi and fucking Church's Chicken billboards in the
I love
background,
it.
bro.
That's awesome. No, it's just, dude, the Final Fantasy 15 one just gets me. It's so out of place. It's so fucking out of place. You know,
It was
all of
clearly an ad. It was clearly an
absolutely,
ad.
absolutely, and no one had a problem with it. You know, but it's like EA's doing it, and it's gonna be a fucking. They're gonna get fucking destroyed. You know, so it's like what was Final Fantasy 15? Was that 2015 that came out or 2016? Somewhere around
20,
there.
yeah, it's somewhere around. It's 2016. I was out here, so it's
It was
2016.
late 2016, right?
Yeah,
I
because
want to
I was
say it
out in
was like
Texas.
December.
Yep, I was in Texas
Yeah.
when it came out.
So, that was like fucking 8 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like we're in a time machine, bro.
Yeah.
Tekken 6 was like 10 years ago. Or not 10 years ago. It was 2009. It was over 10 years ago.
15 years ago. That's
Jesus
15 years
Christ.
ago. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
old. Yeah. God. Yeah, we were what? I was 19. I guess you were 20 at the time, right? 15
Yeah.
years ago. God damn.
It actually came out in 2007.
Mhm.
Tekken 6. That shit's
Oh
old as
no.
fuck. Yeah.
Oh no.
That's the year I graduated. That's when Tekken 6 came out.
It's
That's,
half our life ago, literally.
yeah. Oh my God. But yeah, like I feel like we've just been here. I feel like the industry is just going through a cycle.
It's a cycle. Yeah, it is a cycle.
This was how our parents felt when they saw us going through shit. And they're like, we've been here before.
We've already been there. Yep. Yep. All right. Well, yeah, I kind of felt I didn't think there was going to be a ton to talk about here. I felt like we were going to feel the same way about it. It's just like this has happened before. People,
Yeah.
like wake up, But so, all right, Montreal. Well, anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here today?
Nope, that's it for me.
Any games you're looking forward to coming up?
I'm actually not coming out, but I'm actually looking forward to playing Dragon's Dogma when I get done with Stellar Blade.
Nice. Okay, you're following my path. I kind of want to get You hear about that V Rising game that just came out?
V Rising?
Yeah, it's the vampire ARPG. Like,
Oh yeah, that game.
building
Yeah,
game.
yeah. I saw that game. It looks pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I might pick that up for my Steam Deck because I need something to play on the Steam Deck, and I've heard it runs really well on Steam Deck, so I'm considering picking that one up actually because I've heard really good things about it. People are having a lot of fun. You can you can play co-op on that one, so you can play with people, but you can also build your vampire castle with other people, like where we like share a castle together, you know. And I'm like, damn, that's cool as fuck, dude. So I don't know. Might be something maybe we should try to get our friend group into.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to suggest anything to them anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. No. True. Yeah. Oh, nobody plays with me. Anyways, all right, well, Charles, let's get the fuck out of here. We've been going for a while. All right, everybody. If you like this episode, please like the show, review the show, and subscribe to the show on whatever feed you're listening to it on. And please share it with your friends. If you'd like to interact with us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrapForTheHokage for Montrell. That is the number 4, not the word. I'm at ThunderNut01, and the show is at The Player's Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com, and we will certainly answer your question on the show. All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you next week. Bye.